Huh. Well, that's a new one. I've never seen OBS crash like that. All right, well that's a bad sign. Let's see if it's actually streaming. Okay, so it looks like it's live. Yeah, can you all hear me all right? Yeah, that was weird. Like OBS literally, you know what? I probably haven't rebooted this box in a while. It's funny, it does have Windows updates. I see in the icon. I don't think that's it. All right. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Let me know if you can hear me too. Is anyone actually? Yeah, SNL replied. So hopefully you heard me then. I'll bring up the desktop in a second. I literally did a VMware update like exactly before the stream because what could possibly go wrong? So cross your fingers if this happens. Oh, Yulia, look at that. There we go. Yeah, we got some good stuff today. We are going to do 3.4. We're going to what else are we gonna do? Oh, I don't know. I think my keyboard is doing something wrong. We do sell a app like that, actually. You know what? Um, my VM is what? What is happening? Is my keyboard busted? Hold on. Maybe I should have reset everything. Let's try this again. In the meantime, now is a perfect time as any to uh, mention shop.binary.ninja. Yeah, we do actually. Although if you are outside the US, we are not doing international shipping. We've unfortunately turned that off temporarily. However, if there we go. Yeah, the light's on now. If you if you happen to be anywhere near Germany or Paris, yeah, exactly. Right? Like clearly the problem is I don't have nearly enough terminals here. What? I don't The only thing I could think of is like the hotkey got stuck, but why won't the VM restart? Like, please restart yourself. Yeah. If I use the menu, I want you to restart. Okay. Um, but if you go to shop.binary.ninja, um, you can get some business swag. There's the hat, which I'm wearing. This is like my third or fourth over the years now. I've gone through so many of these things. I wear them out, which is funny because I was never really a hat person. Shirts. It's Chelsea, a friend of ours, who helped me model the women's ones a couple years ago. All this other stuff. Anyway, if you're in the US, great. If you're not in the US, and either you or a good friend is going to Offensive Con or Recon or Hexacon or what are other some of the cons that we're attending? Actually, not a bad list is, let's see, if we come to the training page. See, Hack in the Box is only online. But yeah, Hexacon, Recon, Offensive Con, and DEF CON. That's the other one. So if you're at any of those conferences, just for now, the EU shipping is just shut off temporarily because we have one person in the office who does shipping and she's got way too much on her plate right now. And so, yeah, so she's too busy. So we unfortunately aren't doing EU shipping. But like I said, if we can hand deliver it to you, it's not only way cheaper, as we literally will fly over it and we'll give it to you at a conference or give it to your friend. They can bring it back to you. Yeah, so it's always a nice deal. Gecko 2, welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, let me close the door. It's kind of noisy out there. Um, so yeah, all right, let's see if okay, we got a single terminal that time. That's probably a good sign. Uh oh, and well, that's actually kind of cool because this was a bug. Firefox wasn't actually working. Just yeah, the hotkey for it wasn't working in my window manager the last time. All right, so where am I going? Let's check out the blog, and we'll mention this. Binary Ninja 3.4 is finally freed. Um, the name is a reference to to Braze. Oh, and I actually didn't link that, did I? I know, here it is. I linked it down here. Um, yeah, it is from Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere series. So we're naming all of our planets after sci-fi, fantasy. Oh yeah, Fox. Yeah, free stickers. We always bring free stickers. So we're gonna be at Berlin for Offensive Con. We're gonna be at Paris. Actually, Fox, if I remember, you're somewhere in Scandinavia. Um, uh, I am flying with my family into Oslo, like the first week of June, I think. Yeah. I fly into Oslo. Um, that's right. So I'll be back because I was there last year when I was talking about it with you. I think I discovered that afterwards. So like literally, if you wanted to like meet me somewhere, I don't know where our plans in Norway are gonna be yet. We're gonna get there. So hit me up on Slack or Discord or something. I will bring you many stickers, as many stickers as you want. When I'm over there, it'd be fun to meet up and say hi. So yeah, let's see. Yeah. So anybody else, let me know if you're. Let me know if. Sorry, I'm catching up. I missed your old one. Yeah. So anyway, I have a standing offer if I'm at a conference or if I'm visiting an area near you. In fact, actually, yeah, Fox, if you want me to bring you like a t-shirt or hat or something, um, I should have room in my luggage on the way over there. I gotta check with my boss, see what my wife says. But yeah. Also, I was gonna fix this earlier. You know what? I kind of want to do it now. The stream elements opacity. I think I'm gonna fiddle with this live. Let's see what happens. I noticed that the is that better or worse? I can't tell. Let's just go all the way up. Or actually, let's go like this direction, I think. Fiddling with the fiddling with the CSS and the OBS overlay. That is, it doesn't appear like it's helping, does it? It keeps blinking. 200? I'm just trying random values until I see. Yeah, I feel like that's not helping. So I'll fiddle with that off stream. See if I can actually remember to fix that now. Yeah, so let me know. Okay, 3.4 is out. I actually haven't updated on this VM yet, so how did let's copy. So I always like to leave copies sitting around. We'll find out if I give my VM enough. Actually, I should actually seriously check that. All right, plenty of room in this VM. Let's launch Binja and let's go for a stable update. And the best part is auto updates are already on, so it's just going to update straight to the next stable on its own. I'm curious if anybody else in chat is already fiddling with 3.4, if you tried anything else out, or folks are on dev or what version. Or if you're here just to kind of hang out, you don't have Binja, that's welcome too. So there we go. Let's grab the latest. You'll also see, I think, yeah, the new the start page got updated a little bit. Has some new highlights. We've never really used the start page super well. We keep debating, but this spot over here on the right, which you can kind of see behind the face cam, but yeah, the area on the right there is it's kind of underutilized. Like we don't really use it a whole lot. But kind of had plans to, and like, oh, you could do cool, neat information and stuff. It's especially funny when you have super long paths, like you've been working with Enterprise, and you get these long URLs in here. That's what happens there. So okay, 4271. We almost got release 4269, which would have been funny for the memes. But we did launch, however, on May 3rd, which is important. I want to know if anybody else got this reference, because if you look at our releases, this was Braze. The next release, issues, milestones, is called Coruscant. Or Coruscant, I think it's Coruscant, right? Coruscant, which is from Star Wars. So the next release officially started work. Hey Ryan, welcome. The next release on 3.5 or 4.0. And so this is something you'll see too if you're running dev right now. We did a version bump to 3.5. However, our plan is actually there will be no stable 3.5. That is, we're bumping the incremental version internally for devs, just for some bookkeeping reasons. It's easier to do, like if we have to cut and merge the stable release to backport onto that and the version number stay consistent. So anyway, long story short, as soon as we release a stable, the very next dev release is going to bump the minor version, but that may or may not be. Oh, like I can read IPA, Glenn. Like I guess I could click it. It's probably on here, isn't it? Yeah. Can I ask Google to pronounce that? Wrong hotkey. Um, and then even if I do, am I going to be able to hear it? The International Phonetic Alphabet, right? Or no? What it stands for? I don't think I actually have sound inside the VM. Uh, oh, here I can do it in this machine, and I can just hold it up to the speaker. That'll work great. Let's see. Oh, is it actually working? It's supposed to make a set. Oh, it doesn't even work. It's not working on my other laptop either. I don't want a pronunciation guide. Surely there's a website that will pronounce. Okay, two phonetics. That's not. Well, that's ridiculous. That's not helpful. How about Google used to be able to click. Oh, there we go.
Coruscant.
Coruscant. But that's like the word. It's apparently a real word. Yeah, right? Exactly, Cindy. Yeah. Like, although in this case, I don't think it's actually, or it might not be. It might not be also. It might not be Linux. It might because my. But yeah, so there's an actual definition for coruscant. But there's no way. In the movies, they pronounce it something else. All right, I'm getting totally nerd sniped. Let me know what the correct pronunciation is. If it's coruscant, is it? Or if it's Coruscant, the planet. Coruscant. Okay, no. Coruscant. All right. So we started work on that on May the 4th, which was pretty good timing. And then today is Cinco de Mayo. So that's pretty great. So now we're kicking off. We're cruising. We're doing a live stream celebration on Cinco. Actually, you know what? I had some bottles of Jarritos, like the Mexican soda, that I got home. They're really good. I meant to bring one in to celebrate. So, yep. Here is everything that landed. I think I've probably shown most of this stuff already on the stream. I think we covered basically everything in the pre-release video. Most of this hasn't seen major changes. Ironically, the biggest changes were things that we did not ship by default, things we were hoping to have in the stable in the 3.4 that were like, yeah, it's not quite there yet. And so, for example, actually, I don't know if I showed import from B&B. That might be a new one that I haven't showed. Originally, it wasn't going to be a major feature, but that's one that we included in the major feature list to let you like import like an old set of types from one B&B to another. It's a little bit of a stopgap because there's some better things coming out even in the very next release for doing that, but still really useful and helpful to like pull over data from a previous database. The experimental features, yes, these are the ones. Actually, I don't know if I did demo the debugger improvements. I didn't really demo some of the enterprise improvements, although I did use enterprise on the release stream. But that was more about like most of that stuff was server things and less on the client side for enterprise. Yeah, so like I said, the big news were components and MH file set both are sort of off by default. So we've disabled those. So for one, components because performance. And if you have like in the order of 100,000 or so elements, it starts to like get real laggy. In particular, like when you're filtering, scrolling and clicking is usually pretty good. But any kind of like filtering through it or updating it by like renaming it or doing something that triggers like an update in the list can be real slow. And so we didn't want to we didn't want to add a new feature that made just using the product a lot slower. So you'll see like if I just open up a file, I've got it on because I set the setting. But if you were coming in with backup, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna cap my settings file and leak another key. I'm gonna I need to remember to not do that. I think I have a key in there. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, I don't have any keys in here right now. This is fine. Y'all can know this. Uh, this is the only thing I got here. So I've got the components enabled in my settings. So by default, that won't be on. But I've got it turned on because most of the binaries that I'm looking at here, it's fine. So smaller or medium size, although as you start to get medium, depends on your definition of medium, right? So several people internally even were like, no, like medium is just a couple megabytes with maybe 75,000 elements, and that can already start to get slow. So you might find that that works well, and you might find it doesn't. We left it off by default while we try to really make the performance better. But it is quite nice when it's there. Image file set. Yeah, the other one is unfortunate image file set, which if you do a lot of iOS or macOS is a new feature in the Mako file format. And it's just buggy. It was just a couple of crashes that we couldn't quite narrow down. We weren't confident enough in letting it be on by default. So that one is also gated behind a setting. So I think if you go mh file set, Mako, I forget what it's under. There's a name for it. Oh, I should probably read my own. Mako process file set. Okay, process file. Wait, hold on. Loader Mako. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Again, I should read my own documentation. That only shows up. First of all, do I have a Mako here? Simple.mako. Yes, I do. Actually, here. Simple Mako. So I meant to open that with options. So instead, I'm just going to hit Control Shift. Is it just Control? I think it's. Okay, Control will do the right click, but Control Shift or just Shift click. Yeah, it does open with options. So here we can do file set, right? So it's a per binary setting. You can enable it like on a particular Mako. You can say I would like to enable the image file set parsing. And I know somebody in Slack who recently mentioned that they just used it. Hey, Valgrind, welcome. They did use it successfully. So it does work. Definitely there are people using it, but like I said, it was a little buggy for our tastes, and so we've also got that one off by default, and you kind of have to enable it. On that note, the outlining feature I realized is something that we've been using for a couple of stable releases now, several dev commits, where you not that. Where are we going? Here we go. Where the built-in mem copy and the built-in mem set and all those kind of APIs. I think Poppy has a couple of those, and yes, I would just click the feature map, scroll to the end because I know that's where the synthetic built-ins is always going to be, and then I find cross references to it. That's like the usual way that I look for these. I think stir copies are more interesting. Yeah. And so this one actually has seen several improvements. In fact, there was an improvement on dev post 3.4. So if you're doing like Windows malware, there's support for. Sweet. Yeah, glad to. You know what? Let me double check that too. Is it just shift click or is it control shift? I'm gonna check that out now. Poppy. Yeah, it is control shift. It's control and shift. And I think it's also like control shift O. We'll do open with options on the file menu. Yeah, there we go. So that's how I kind of remember the hotkey for clicking on the recent list. It's because you get like a little bit of a hint because like Control O is just open, but Control and Shift O is open with options. So Control Shift and then click uh, will bring up that, which is kind of handy. I use that one a fair amount. Um, so okay, built-in string copy. Yeah, so like this is seen. Um, I love it when Brian implements a feature because he like will just I won't say grind on it, but that sounds bad. Like he will really polish it and really like continue to refine it. He's really good at like continuing to just make it as good as possible. So anytime you see something where you're like, oh, that's like a stack string, or that's like something that could have been turned into one of these like built-in star copies or mem copies or mem sets or whatever, let us know. Hey Eric, yep, component view. It's not on by default though. Like I said, unfortunately, it's still gated by that setting. Let me know if you do use it and if it works well for you or if it does not. Let us know because I'm actually really curious to see where the boundaries are of performance. I'm trying to think what like maybe the biggest binary I have is. Boot.kc. It's an ARM64. What is that? Crack me is not big enough. That's only 400K. What is this boot deck? I don't think I'm opening up anything sensitive, right? Because I wouldn't have put it in my samples folder if it was. Boot.kc. Whatever it is, it's something we just don't even support. Oh. So it's like a Mako variant of something, right? Because the magic is sort of right there, but there's obviously doesn't totally match. Yeah, so we failed to load that one. And then this one says, hey, I love it when the error tells me what to do. That's so nice. Good job. Good work, Kat. All right, so Control Shift click, and this is probably the one I used before. This actually will be a good test then. This is a pretty good sized binary, right? So how big is this? 14 megs. All right, this is definitely a medium-sized binary. So I actually kind of want to break components a little bit, or at least I want to stress it. So let's see. Um, uh, so, all right, let's let this finish its analysis, and I'm curious how many functions and symbols we get. And then I kind of want to start playing with some of the filtering and some of the functions on this file. So we can let that kind of go in the background. We're playing with stuff. Hey, Praddock, welcome. Not a whole lot yet, just kind of fiddling around. I've been talking a little bit about the timing of the release name. Is it Pratik or Praddock? Probably Pratik, I assume. Pratik. Let me know how to pronounce it. And thank you, Galen. Yes, I eventually got there. I could have used it earlier if I was paying closer attention to chat. But it is also a very large. Oh, here, look, there's even some symbols up here. So like, look, let's see here, copy. Okay, so like that, totally reasonable performance. And we're looking at, so it's only like 300,000 functions, right? Again, this is kind of consistent. I think once you start getting like in the neighborhood of 100,000 is when it starts to really get. You can hear I don't know if y'all can hear on the stream, my fans are spinning up, which is consistent with an old poor i9 Mac. The M2 is over here like, yeah, you're acting all like hot and great, except the problem is you can't run a nice Linux x64 VM as well. So, stop showing off. All right, let the analysis go. Let's go back to blogs. Yeah, so outlining specifically, like I said, yeah, this was one thing that was not there the last time we looked. Wide strings. So you can actually have string copy operations that happen with like, UTF-16, which is really common in Windows ones. Oh, well, I mean, both are fine, but like I would like to say it the correct way. Which way is more correct? Pratik or Pratik? But either way, welcome. Good to see you. I mean, it's smaller. 14 megs is not terrible. And yeah, it's gonna be going the whole time. I really just want to see like the number of. So we're gonna be finding more functions, but it's gonna take a while for linear sweep to finish here. Um, yeah, loading and the decompilation of those functions. Not bad though. Not bad. Um, so we've got oh, this is something interesting. I want to mention this to people because I put this in the blog post and I don't think it was super clear. Um, because let's see, R12 memset, arg11, arg underscore f0. So this was something that, yeah, okay. So here's a good example, right? So you see, we've got this int 128t on arg f0, and then we've got b0 up here. If we is that right? So we're setting. Oh, is it just this is just the pointer though? I'm gonna get nervous sniped a little bit because one of the things I ran into, I should have pulled up the other binary I had it was a better example on, was if the built-in memset happens and it's doing it across like a region of memory that should not be treated as like one big contiguous region of memory, you could instead just set the type and it would fix it. It might even, if I just set this type. Yeah, we're also in the middle of analysis. So if I actually set these are now no longer like auto guest types, but they're actually user types. Because I picked it and said, yeah, like literally just hitting Y, hit enter, will convert that type from a sort of lower confidence auto analysis type into one that I did. And yeah, so this one is, well, I don't even know who knows what this function is actually doing. And this could be for a lot of reasons. This might not be real, or it might be. I don't like. This could just be misrecognition on like an inlining thing where it's actually part of another function, and so these all look like arguments, but it's really a tail call, or uh, all sorts of possibilities as to why that is. But regardless, these built-in mem copies you can control by setting the types on them, and so if you like split up one of these arguments, the analysis will go, oh, wait a minute, it's not a structure of unknown type that could go for hex 30 bytes. It's really only like an 8-byte chunk or whatever it is. And so we'll remove that initialization, which is kind of nice because you don't have to disable it entirely if you're looking at it going like, that's not what this is. Like you just tell it what the types are and it will work well. So actually, you know what? I think I have. Let me pull that up. Yeah, the wide string one. In fact, let's show that difference too, because there was another one that just. What's the fastest way to get this in here? Let's do this. Just in case I put it on the wrong screen. Came up on the right screen. Yeah. All right. So let me go grab. Where was that from? I think we put it in here. I'm gonna go grab this file and load this in. Short summary is we pulled a piece. Actually, no, you know what it was? I think I know where to go find it. I think this was it. Yeah, there was a Mandiant stack string example. It was one of theirs. So yeah, they're using a debugger to do it. Ooh, examples. I don't know if this was no, that's the debugger script. Do you have a sample file to test on, however? I don't think they do. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's see. Where is it's somewhere in their GitHub. It's not in Kappa. I've got that in my history. Um, hey Amy, welcome. I was just talking about you today with somebody else, and they're like, "Oh, you miss Amy's trainings." And I was like, "Yeah, because they're a lot of work." She's saying it takes too much time. And they're like, "Yeah, but we miss them so much. She should do them again." I was like, I don't know. She's pretty busy. It's good to see you. Um, you could probably take a guess at who it was, I bet. Somebody that's probably bugged you a lot to, okay, there's a couple examples to do your trainings again. Um, okay, so floss, stack strings. Does this have tests? Okay, here we go. Data. Now we're stack strings. There we go. Okay, here's one. So let's go grab this. Yay. And if I'm right, this kind of a stack string, it's under downloads. Samples? No. Oh, yeah. Sure. All right, so now if you get enough free time, maybe post DEF CON is my guess. Maybe a little busy. Um, plus like a month to recuperate. Oh right, I should probably kill off my boot. Do I have two copies of Boot C going? Oh no, what have I done? What have I done? I'm so sorry, poor little VM cores. All all two cores that I gave you, or whatever whatever core account I gave this VM. Yeah, I'm gonna all the memory. All right. Um, let's try this again. And let's not try to open a massive file in the background while we open the new one. I stopped caring so much about the components UI performance. There we go. Okay. All right. So this one, yeah, let's look at this one. So let's look side by side. I'll hit Control backspace, which is the default hotkey to split the view. So I can look at like low-level IL, or I can look at disassembly, and we can see, right, the difference here is that these stack strings look great, but they're just regular ASCII, and then this one is UTF-16, right? We've got all these nulls. And so you see those don't get picked up here, but like they're grayed out because there's no references to them directly. They're going to be loaded in, and then there's just this variable that's the beginning of it gets referenced, and that whole thing gets passed as an argument to whatever function this is, right? So this is where I'm going to spin up the latest dev and make sure I'm updated. And again, you'll see, oops. Oh, I did do a snippet updates. I did some good ones too. I'll show that off in a second too. I forgot about that. I don't think I actually. Snippets is manually installed for now. Can I? Oh, I did this already. Fantastic. Oh, it's installed. I can just pull the latest. I haven't done a release yet of some of these features that I'll show you on snippets. I do have to pay attention because I'm ordering kids from a pizza. But this is the cool thing. My oldest is old enough to drive, so I can just put in an order and be like, go get pizza now. And they can do themselves. And then I can ride my unicycle home whenever I want. So I can stream as long as I want today. It's great. All right, so now we're on 3.5.4.2.7.2. And so if you missed the beginning, as I said, we're calling this 3.5 temporarily. It'll almost certainly be, I hope this is going to be not 3.5, but 4.0. There's several key things that we internally want to see happen in the next release for us to call it 4.0. So if that happens, you'll never see a stable 3.5. There'll be a stable 3.4 and then stable 4.0. We'll just change that name once those features are on dev and we're confident in them. But anyway, yeah, there we go. And we can see Brian's commit right here, actually. This is the one that I wanted. So if I have this version now. Um, hey, there we go. So was that, now let's split the view again, and let's hit I a couple times. And I'm hitting R just to switch these over. Yeah, so you can see it was indeed kernel 32. Oh, look at that. Yeah, yeah, it's got a capital L there. Okay. Is that the syntax for a wide string? I have no idea what. Oh, I guess it's WCSB. I should have also seen that too. Good question, Joe. I see. I know. See, Galen, that's what I'm debating. Some of this I want to keep a surprise. 4.0. I mean, let's see. A couple things we've publicly shared. So yeah, anyway, don't have to manually check this out. It's just already looking good right there. So that's a great example now where and this again, I'm running on dev that's post 3.4, but even 3.4 had support for wide string. I don't remember the exact bug of why this particular wide string didn't work. But Brian made that fix on the latest dev as well too. So like I said, there's one even post stable release just later this week. The Yeah, you're very welcome, Cindy. I think it's looking really good, and I've even seen it like start to outperform other tools, stack string recovery. So I think it's working quite nicely, which is great. Let's see, how much do I want to share about 4.0? Okay, so 4.0, the things that from our perspective need to be in 4.0 before it's yeah, that might be part of it. You are not wrong, Eric. That is exactly right. Is Sidekick beta is happening like right now. I actually have it installed. It's so good. I don't want to show it off though because I have shown Sidekick to the stream several times over the years. It's changed a lot. And I feel like I don't want to demo it anymore until like it's a thing people can actually get and use and like it's out there. So I'm trying to resist my natural urge to just show off everything. But yeah, like if you want a private demo, hit me up on Slack and I'll happily show you off features like 101. But I'm not going to put any public stuff out there because I want it to be like, no, really, it's out, it's real, you can buy it, you can get it, whatever like I want it to be out there. But Sidekick is usable. The rest of the team in the office has been testing it for like a month, and it's starting to look really, really good. It'd be quite nice. Um, so yeah, so let's see. Okay, features though that we have specifically uh, sort of confirmed or talked about. Actually, we might even have some. Let's see what we've got in the wiki, because obviously we do a lot of yeah milestones, Coruscant. What have we've already got 102 things opened, and I think if we just go by issues, sort by milestones. I mean, it's not one to one, but if you look for the high impact labels and medium impact, like high impact labels are generally wow, that's a lot of high impact labels. Um, okay, yeah. So here's the thing: these projects and session support and intra project cross references, and there's one other one which is like type archives, I think, which are related. Um, they are they're actually in testing already. We've got the code, but they need some more polish and some more work. And so those are two big things. In fact, even the 3.4 release almost was 4.0. If we had been a little further along with a couple other things, we might have been able to make it 4.0. But those are like the big ones. So that'll be, we've got already, the folders in components, which again, we're going to work on the performance of that too to make that better even for very large ones out of the box. But that's different than like a project-based concept. And so having the idea of a project which is a higher level than a binary view, so you can have like a bunch of DLLs or a bunch of binaries that exist on the file system of a firmware, or a bunch of one binary and then all of the libraries that it uses, right? All in one project. And then you can link between them. So like if I'm reversing a function and there's like an import, I can just click straight into that import and we'll go to that function. The related feature too is like, if you've got a library and it parses some data of the main thing, and maybe there's some structure definitions or type definitions you've got in one that you want to use in the other, you don't want to have to like you can already right now with the latest feature, it's quite nice. You can import from B into B, right? So if I actually have I'm trying to think of a good example. Yeah, so like for example, if I had a binary that used something from user 32 or some like Microsoft Windows library, I could load or ADV API. I could load that ADV API up. I could load the PDB, take all the types that come in with that, and then import them into the other project, and I would have them available in that project. You can do that right now under analysis import header file. No, import from BNDB. All right, so if I import from BNDB, and actually simple class has some types in it. You can see already, like by default, it's like already just going to pull in all of this type information, all the function prototypes. It will let me import those into the new namespace. Hey, RQ, welcome. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, Eric, I think you'll be impressed too, not just in the like the quality of the results, but also the way the features are integrated. Because one of the big questions I had originally was like, okay, cool, you're gonna put AI in reversing, like so is everybody else. There's like 3 plugins I know of right now that'll do some level of like ask ChatGPT to summarize a function or to like start naming things, right? And so some of that is like anybody can do it. So like, what are we going to do different and better? And so I think there's some other stuff that's going to come along with that make it super nice, both in terms of how it's integrated in the product, some of the things that we're doing that are not using OpenAI, but is really just based on our own research and our own models that we've been training. So there's other things that it's going to do, but the package itself, like all told, is it's real nice. Um, so yeah, so with import BNDB, you can already select the imports that you want to bring in from that file. But and it's like, okay, great. Like I've got these structures. So like if I had again structures from a like a PDB that I wanted to like bring into the binary that called into those imports, and then I wanted to have the structure information available. Like you can do that, but better would be what we plan to do for the project support, where you can actually have like a type archive. You can have a collection of types that you edit as a group, and then they can be applied inside of multiple binaries and relied on by multiple binaries, but you can change them in one place. So like if I inform my knowledge and I like now I have more, I know more about a structure or whatever, I can make those changes, and then all the binaries that are using that type will be improved, and I'll have to change it once. I don't have to change it, import it, replace it, change. It's tedious to do that multiple times. So calling that type archives, project and session support, and then this intra project cross references to me is sort of table stakes. That's like an important part of project and session support. You look at these; these are like old bugs. These have been around for a long time. And then container format support is very similar. In fact, there's some argument like, do we even really need a specific separate API, or literally is projects enough? So, for example, a container file format like the issue is if we or the thought process goes, if we have this sort of project support and this type archive support, can we not just have a loader that essentially creates a project by parsing out, for example, a shared cache, right? If you've got a shared cache and we can create separate views of all these different things and then link them together and then put them into a project, well, that is container support, right? These are maybe specific examples of pre-built-in loaders that will use the project support. So once project support that's like the long pole in the tent. Once that's done, it should be straightforward to like implement support for some of these container formats. So no, I mean I don't mean no, I don't think container format support directly is important. Does that make sense? Like in my explanation, Valgrind, hopefully that like I justified why I would say that. I think we're going to get container format support, but that's not the hard part. Once we've got project support, it'll be very trivial to implement a bunch of containers specifically that will leverage the project support to create projects based on container file formats. Like extracting things from a zip is not hard. Extracting things from firmwares can get a little bit trickier, but there's a lot of tools that can do that already. Extracting things from a shared cache or kernel cache, right? It's not hard to parse out the individual things. The hard part is like, what do you do with it afterwards? And that's why we call that project support. So yeah, again, library archives, right? Getting out the individual slices is not even like the hardest part there. Okay, cool. Yeah. But I agree. I mean, the ultimate reason why you want project support is not only for the manual projects that I'm doing as a user, where I want to like create an executable and a bunch of libraries, but also for the things like container formats, type archives, or sorry, library archives, yeah, AR files or whatever. There's a bunch of stuff that does there. So okay, let's see. I want to sync renaming functions between two files. So is this like an obfuscated binary where both the library and um the other function or and the both the library and the binary that used it had an obfuscated name? Or was it like there was an ordinal or some other lookup they were using to call into it, and so you knew the name on one side but not on the other side where it was obfuscated? I'm curious what you mean. I mean, yeah, like there's probably a couple ways you could do that. I'm kind of curious what the problem was. Oh, this is gonna be a fun one. Rusty's already working on this one. This was real nice. Yeah, this is a top tier. So like there is a small list of like improvements to just straight up decompiler quality that I feel like before we can really say like we've got true parity with IDA. They still have fantastic decompilation. This is one of just a like this um, and like some stack based array stuff, and that's I mean that list gets real short. There's gonna be very few situations I think where IDA's default decomp is gonna be able to do better once we have that. Um, and I think when this comes along, it's going to be a really nice implementation that'll probably outdo some of theirs because it's Rusty. He's doing some good work. So and again, not to mention all the C++ stuff that he just did, which is already I think kind of pushing state of the art in RE tooling. So that's really nice. Um, yeah, this is a big list of these are all high impact bugs. If we get like half these done, I'm going to be ecstatic. So yeah, I think this already has. Usually, I hold off on like promising too much for what's happening in the next release, because like we have to take a break. We usually take some downtime after a release. Like took off most of today. Actually, I wrote my unicycle around and kind of hung out, um, and then we'll kind of come back and do like a planning session where we'll sit down and look over the roadmap and see what makes sense. But in this case, a lot of these are stuff we've already kind of been thinking about. So this is a really full. Yeah, 19 high impact things. That's crazy. That's got to be the highest. I want to see actually here. So let's look over the last two releases. How many high impact do we have here? Not open. Oh yeah, there are no open issues on Braze. We closed them all. Label colon impact colon high. 12 in Braze. And Arrakis had 9. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good summary, right? And that's yeah, so if we do these plus any other crashes that come up, there's probably some crashes that come in here because generally we say if it's a bad crashing bug, it's often high impact. So these are like not 19 crashing bugs. These are like 19 like just high impact like features and stuff that we want to add. Yeah, you caught up here. Oh, interesting. Yeah. So it had some other like resolution method on one side, but on the other side you had the names. So username, it is so you can only do something like this in commercial. Like you can do the decompilation here. Um, like I've literally just decompiled actually here if I just do new line join list that should be oh I typed wrong. Oh, the HL instructions are actually tokens. Actually, map. Or see, no. Lambda x colon stir of x, comma. Is that it? If I spelled lambda right? Let's see here. I'm always. List lambda x colon. I'm doing my lambda wrong. Yeah, oh, actually, you know what? The other way I could do that would be just do list comprehension and do stir of for x in. Let's do this. That's a very boring function. I actually have it already right. Print, and then we'll do the new lines. Okay, so anyways, sorry, I totally nerd sniped with some Python. Um, so yeah, you can only do this directly in commercial. However, you can do the same thing in, actually, let me actually grab my exact code. Um, so I can actually do the same thing, although the only thing I'll warn you is don't use BV, because in the console, if you have a file open, that's automatically going to be set to be BV. But if I do like BV2 equals, and I give it some other file, right? I've got some malware sample. If I actually just do this, um, and then I do the same instruction, I can build a plugin. I can do similar kind of automation. I just can't do it totally headlessly. So yes, and thank you, Dank, for answering that, by the way. And Eric, let me know if you tried the C++ stuff out. The problem is I'm a bad C++ reverser. I'm a bad C++ programmer, for that matter. That's why I rarely touch the core. Yeah, you're right, replay. That would have been great too. List map of stir would have also done it. That's true. Oh, that's an interesting question, Joe. So, I don't think it will, but if you don't mind actually throwing a comment on that issue that I just highlighted. Um, Milestone chorus and okay. Label colon impact colon high. So that one was division or math. Yeah, if you have examples and you want to throw them as a comment on this issue, that would be really helpful. That's a great question. I do know, for example, right now, what Rusty's been working on is he basically has made a ton of like massive brute force examples where he's got Clang and GCC and Visual Studio for several different architectures each, producing like every pattern of division it's got to see and to test that the de-optimizers essentially that he's making to replace them back to the high level mod div whatever construct that he's doing. um, Hey, Brinley, welcome. Good morning to you. Um, so uh, he is yeah, so he's got like these test samples, and so he's working through all of those, and he plans to like make sure that he's like got something that's robust and works kind of on everything. And so he has already run into some different patterns just because different architectures, different compilers. Um, what I don't think is the case, I don't think he's implementing a generic system that would be pluggable and extensible by others. You could already do it though with a workflow, right? Like a workflow already could implement. Um, hmm. I mean, so the core ones are most important, but I think even you know what? Actually, for the MSP 430, file that as a discussion question. That would be a great question to put here and be like, what's the right way to do it? Because I also don't know the answer to that, and I'd be very curious if I just realized it would be funny if I moved the chat right here so that when I'm looking at my chat box, like it looks like I'm looking at it, but it would kind of cut too much of the video. Anyway, uh, oh, it's okay. I got you. It was both. It was method number on both sides. Yeah. Um, yeah, what I would probably have done, sorry, I'm easily distracted, but I like bouncing around topics. What I would have done, KI, is I probably would have written like a snippet that would have done the rename in my binary and then have a separate like tab open, or like depending on the size of the files, literally opened up the other BNB, replicated the change there, saved it, and closed it. And then just every time you make a rename, like it does it in both, but do it with like a little wrapper script. That's probably what I would have done. That's a good question. Okay, so yeah, back to your question, Joe. I would recommend make a discussion question about that because I suspect it might be better to implement. Yeah, I don't know if that's better to implement that at the lifter layer or if it's better to do it as a workflow or Like if you can, because like the problem is you want to have data flow and you want to have things that don't exist until after you're done lifting, right? So that's the problem. So sometimes the pattern's obvious enough, you can just hard code in the architecture and just lift it straight as a modern div, right? Like if you, especially if you've got a little bit of look ahead, and if the patterns exactly fits into a short byte sequence, you can literally just cheat and be like, yeah, I see that counter being initialized in this thing and this thing, and I know that this is going to be a multiplier divide. Um, but that depends if it's a small number of opcodes that fit into whatever the 16 byte limit on the architectures are. So I suspect that a workflow is going to be the way to do it. But I'm not sure. Yeah, yeah, you could have a compiler specific workflow exactly to rewrite it. And I think that's actually kind of how, to some degree, it's being done under the hood. I don't know if that's exactly how Rusty's doing it, but I think it's pretty equivalent when he's rewriting the ILs already in like his current prototype. That's doing those optimizations. Um, cool. All right, I got distracted several times. I love it when y'all have questions though. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming in, and then also you'll notice there was one on nah, oh, wrong release. Yeah, we keep pushing off. I know for those of you that are like Dialib shared cache folks and iOS type libraries and that kind of stuff, we keep pushing off some of these features a little bit more than we'd like. But part of that is going to be because that project support, which I mentioned earlier, right, is going to be important for doing things like the shared cache. And so we kind of want to do that all in one. And I also wouldn't be surprised. This is going to be more than one release worth of work, like a lot of these features. And so we'll probably start working on them before that. We need to give Kat a break because she did components, which is a lot of UI work, which is thankless and tough. And so her passion is on the iOS side. So we'll probably have her focus more on some of that stuff over the next couple of releases. So some of that will probably hit. Some of this might even hit. I'm not sure exactly how far, but some of these will potentially hit um, in Coruscant instead. But and so here was the label colon impact high colon. I need to bookmark this. Chorus. That's a useful bookmark to keep. I keep coming to that. Thanks, username. I bugged John because somebody asked me about it recently, and I was like, hey, can I please put the notepad plugin in the plugin manager? And he's like, oh, it's not good. There's so much stuff I want to do. And I'm like, yeah, but like even not good is better than nothing. So it's in there. Although it, definitely there could be some improvements to it. I think having it, for example, be like per function, because I think it's per binary right now. I forget exactly how it works. Actually, let's try it. And speaking of which, let's do the plugin section. So one of the things I wanted to do is I was going to review, for those of you that follow us on Twitter, I have been tweeting almost like I've got Buffer doing the queued up seat. So I've tried to have every day. I think I missed one in the last like 2 months or 3 months. But we've had basically a tweet every day, and every Monday we have the plugin manager. So here, so let's make a list of all the ones from the last couple weeks. So we've got UEFI from Brandon. I did just out him, did I? Does he say it on his profile? I feel like he does. Yeah, he does. Okay, good. try not to dox people on stream. Let's see. Oh, actually, I should search. Oh, no, I was gonna search for plugin and then snippets. Oh, yeah, that's right. Snippets changes. We're gonna talk about those. I've already installed that, so we can do that next. And then the older ones, actually, I wasn't using the emoji of the little plug, so I can just search for plugin. That's for our training. Let's see, plugin highlight. All right, Twitter and your continuous scroll. Oh, there we go. Ripper. And there was another one that's stepping. This copy as Yara. That was another good one too. Let's save that one off. Let's go look at that one. And then I think that was the last. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No stream to. Well, hold on. Was our last stream. So was there one more? Oh, native sig scan. I don't think I've shown that one off yet either on stream. No, I have not. I didn't stream. I missed you guys, by the way. It's been the entire month of April. Yeah, dang. Per function would be like really easy. Like I'm tempted just to go try to write it right now on stream level of easy. I think that would be incredibly easy to do. Maybe we'll take a look at that. Let me make some notes of. I got so many things I want to do real quick, and I'm easily distracted. But let's see. Notepad per function. We've got. I'm going to review all these plugins I just opened. I'm going to. Maybe I'll let y'all vote. I'll let the audience vote, and you can change your vote anytime in the next like 20 minutes or so. Do you want me to cover the try to write the extend the Notepad plugin to support per function, or do you want me to talk about working with types in Binary Ninja? Because I realized like it'll probably be a rough draft, and I'll have to refine it and edit it later more. But we've got the Binary Ninja Basics series like on YouTube, and it's right now it's got stuff like on the IL, opening files, Ninja Basics. Where's the playlist? Here's why I really don't want audio working. Ads. Yeah, I don't even want the ad playing. I just want the playlist. Where's the... Why would it not show me the... Tone matters, Grammarly? That's so... Wow, man. YouTube is awful without, like, ad block and a paid account. So we've got opening files, we've got views, we've got patching, we've got hotkeys and actions, plugins, and then episode 6 was the last one, which, oof, man, I need to shave. I need to shave today, though, too. The BNIL. And, like, I haven't even done these since I was in my house. I was streaming from my house. It was before we wrecked in the office. Oh, yeah, Kappa Explorer. Oh, that's awesome. Actually, wait, I was gonna check. Was Copy as Yara? Okay. Yeah, Copy as Yara. I actually haven't tried it yet. I'm gonna let's yeah, we'll go check all this stuff out. Okay, so let me know though in the comments. Do you want me to show off working with types as another Ninja Basics? And we'll try to because there's a lot to with types, and it will probably require me to like have better test files and do it. But I kind of want to like prototype some of the ideas and do it on stream. But or I could work on functions for Notepad, and we'll do all that after we do the plugin review. And one other thing, I was going to talk about the 4.0 roadmap. We kind of already covered that. We kind of covered 3.4. Let's just go to the top and look at the last tweet because, like I said, several of it. Yeah, I think that, okay, that was all I had here. Yeah, if I think of anything else, we'll do it. So vote early, vote often. In the meantime, let's go play with some plugins. All right, so we'll start with SigScan. SigScan is really cool. It's cool for two reasons. One, because it's a nice plugin idea. Oh, that was one nice change, by the way. If you're familiar with our like pip requirements, plugin downloaded successfully, please restart Ninja. If you're familiar with our, this is, I just realized this latest dev, I don't know if this is going to work with native SigScan. It may or may not. Create code from range. Oh yeah, so let's fingerprint. Actually, this is a great one. So let's make a SigScan fingerprint for this kernel 32 wide string thing, which probably is really common. It's just some compiler thing, but like whatever. So create code sig from range. I don't know what norm is. Well, let's create a code signature from the range. Okay, so it fed in the bytes that we had selected, and it masked off. Oh yeah, okay. And then this is the mask. This is how this is it. These are what kind of I should probably like actually look at the help docs for apps before I start just like YOLOing them. All right. So the other thing, the other reason that, oh good, the votes are coming. I know. I knew you all were gonna make me do types. Sorry, Dank. I think you might be outvoted even if you. Oh no, you did. You even voted for types. You were the one who wanted the notepad. I know. I figured you would. I prefer writing plugins because I know I can write plugins. I don't know how good I am with reversing types, but I at least can explain the UI elements of it. As long as I can find a good example. Actually, hey Galen, if you're still on, would you do me a favor and see if you can get a hold of Kyle? Um, I think we have a training example with some type stuff that's like more toy size from the training class that might be good for me to do. If you can have him drop it in the stream channel, if you're on it, if you see that. If not, I'll figure it out. Yes, exactly, Dank. Exactly. That's the cool part about it, right? So the cool part about the SIGSCAN is the native SIGSCAN part of it, right? This is actually a C++ uh, plugin. So the plugin itself is much faster, not being Python based for like doing its like for generating a pattern, like that's fine. Like that doesn't take C++ to do that performantly. However, to then take this pattern and then scan for it, which I don't know what that UI looks like. Find code sig. Is that it? Do I just copy that in directly there? Oh, yeah, there we go. That's it. So the idea of like, you've got the signature and you want to scan for it in a bunch of samples, much faster to do that in C++. Rust would work too. Either way, building Rust, building C++, and then matching the Binary Ninja build version with like the API and trying to juggle it, especially between like both dev and stable, right? That can be a lot of work. This, bin export, Christian ran into this trying to get bin export, which is super useful because you need it for bin diff. He ran into some issues in terms of like trying to keep those versions in sync. In fact, for a while, it was actually crashing Binary Ninja on macOS. Thanks, Galen. He's also probably really tired because he just finished a training class. So if he's not, don't bother him too much. But if he's around and if he has that file, or if you look in the repo, you might be able to find it yourself. Look for something with like type structure. I might even be able to dig up. Yeah, I might try to dig something up myself. But so anyway, so yeah, native SIGSCAN is really, really cool because there's actually two plugins, right? So there's this plugin, which is, this is the actual plugin itself. You can see, right? It's the C++ source CMake file, but then there's the native releases on it, which include all of the actual, like, it does not include, wait, what? I'm really confused because I don't see a dylib, and yet I just ran it, right? Well, now that's black magic. Hold on. How does this plugin work? Native plugins data. Okay, so that's just that. Oh, I'm not on a Mac. Right. So it works because I'm not on a Mac. So unfortunately, he doesn't. That is the issue, right? You have to have build infrastructure set up to build for you. Now, there are GitHub Action runners on Mac now, I believe. In fact, I think they even have M1 and x64 native runners that you can put on actions. And for any like open source projects that you want to just trigger a build on platforms every time there's like a binge dev or every time you update your plugin, I think free tier is usually sufficient for that. So yeah, Linux, Mac, Windows, ARM, and containers. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they have like runners for everything now that you could do it. So one of the things that we want to do is we want to actually update, with some better examples. I kind of want to take what the native 6.1 has already done and base it on that because it's working. So you've got a Python loader you can load in the plugin manager, and then it will just check the version you've got and do a lookup and go grab the appropriate library version. 4203, 396, you can see the actual build that it put out. And in my case, 4203, That version is not, actually it probably has, if we actually go back here, we can link to the loader. Yeah, and I guess this is based on the IDA SigMaker plugin. It's a similar. I wonder if it's the same output with those two strings. Hmm. I would like a screenshot of how your plugin works so I can tell if it's the same as this one. Well, native syscan Rico Dot, good job. This has better documentation than the IDA one, that's for sure. Build process. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. So anyway, very cool plugin. I'm very excited both for what it does. It's a great, useful, functional plugin, but also for what it shows in terms of so like how you can use Python plugin to do a loader. Actually, that's the other way I can just do this. I could just look into CD repositories, CD community plugins, and this one is Rico Dots. So this is the actual loader. The 6scan one, and it will again. So it's going to go grab the resources releases rather to get the right versions here, and then it maps. Yeah, with dev, just grab that version. This could run into some potential issues if, for example, we make a breaking change on the binary ABI that's just on dev, like the before and after. But I think this is a really good way of doing it, where you just sort of like, if that happens, you do just a new update of dev, and then you support for either latest dev or these stables. I think that's a perfect way to do it. And again, it'd be cool if we had GitHub Actions that would wire it to our Binja API, and if there was some way to tell like when the API version increments, then you would trigger a build automatically on your plugin. So nice. So that would be super cool. Yes. Okay. Oh, look, I just caught up on on what Glenn and Joe were talking about in chat a few minutes ago, probably. Because yeah, basically, it's tricky. I think you could do it, but like I said, I think the way to support it would be either just the very most latest dev, and it's automatically generated and triggered by pushes to our API repo, or these stables that you pinned it to just those. And if your plugin would have a Python plugin that would have to load the native plugin, and it would just map exactly like this does it. So yeah, exactly. It's a great, and even if there's changes, even if it needs to be redone, like just to have it implemented, and like I said, it just works on at least two platforms. It works on Windows and Linux. We do need to get Mac support for it. Um, it's fantastic. So, and look at all those lovely comments explaining it up top. Great, great, great plugin. So, all right, I'm getting too distracted with this one. That is a fantastic plugin. Very excited for it. I owe Rico Dot a shirt for sure, because that's cool. If anybody knows Rico Dot, I should actually message them uh, and ask if I can figure it away. I don't remember if I have or not. Sometimes I will just do that anyways. All right, plugin number one. Plugin number two. Oh, no, that's SigMaker. We already looked at that. All right. All right, snippets. All right, so let's show off. Let's restart. I don't remember if I restarted some of the changes I made to snippets. Oh, which worked horribly on my window manager here. Oh, actually, it's not too bad. Okay. So couple of new changes to snippets. So first, if you just double click, you can rename one of these, right? Not that it really matters, but like it's much more like a file manager. You can also right click and like make a new folder, and then you can actually drag and drop files into folders. So like this really works like a file manager now. So not a whole lot of actual file changes that resulted in that. This came because somebody wanted to actually here. Let me duplicate this. And leave a file in there, and then wait. I typed the wrong file name. Anyway, if you try to delete a folder, it wouldn't work before. So I was adding that feature, and when I was in there, I went like, oh wait, I could just make this work like a real file manager. So now you can delete entire subfolders. You can, yeah, you can really just, now you used to just do this. You can hit browse snippets, and then pull that out and like, manually use a real file manager, but it was a little bit of code and not too hard to do. So Joe, yes, the good solution for CI is we will happily sponsor open source projects with a dedicated free headless license to run on CI. So we did that for Mandiant with their Kappa. So their CI is using Binja on their side with like a free license. We will happily generate CI licenses that can be used on GitHub. What we really should do is figure out a way to make like a, yeah, it would probably just, yeah, I don't know if there's a way to make it like sort of like an authorized thing where we have to approve people, but then they could just use a global license that was just for GitHub CI or something. I don't, but yeah, we can do it for now. We absolutely have a way of doing that. Yeah, so see, Glenn, that's an even better answer than stub libraries. But that is also another answer. Is you can also stub library. You can compile without a real license. But the problem is you don't want to just compile. You want to have some unit tests, and we would also like you to have unit tests on your plugins. And so if you are an author of an open source plugin that's published, we will sponsor you a headless license for free, just for that purpose, right? For the purposes of running on GitHub CI to do tests and to make your plugin better and our plugin ecosystem better. So it is open-ish. If you look, you can see their actions. Oh, here we go. CI and CI binary ninja. So I think I want to say I'm not logged in. I don't remember how much of these are visible if you are. Pull it over here. Yeah, I don't remember if you just have to be logged in at all or if you have to be like have permissions on that project. Whoa. And sorry, I just realized my kids were asking for something. It's not dinner time yet, but they're asking for more Roblox time, so. Gotta have our priorities, making sure they have their. It's Friday. They're allowed to be on Roblox. It's good. It's good time. It's a little downtime. Um, logged. Oh, I don't remember now. What was that about? Oh, the logs. Whether you're logged in. Logged in is enough. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I think you can get that information from there. So like you basically make your serial number a secret, and then I believe, you could come under the actual tests. It's under tests, I believe. So I believe there's like the binary ninja. Yeah, there we go. And so you see like, they pull the binary ninja serial out of the environment so they can make a secret that has a serial number. Yeah, I think they've actually integrated it, so now it's just test.yaml. But then it runs the job, the Binja tests. So yeah, there you go. You can, and this is the coolest part. Yeah, here's the coolest part right here, right? So I actually intended to build some of this a couple weeks ago on stream, and they just basically just finished it themselves. I just pointed them at that. There is this script already to download. Oh, and hey, Erica, welcome. Um, there is a script to download a headless installer. It only works with headless for reasons. Oh, I did see Well, I also saw your meme post about Rust. I haven't had a chance to look at it, so I'm not sure, Fox. I did hear some people in the office recently complaining about it. Um, I don't know any more details though, so I couldn't say. I will say the first time I looked at Rust a few years ago, it was really easy to decompile. It looked great, but it may have been that example. Um, so yeah. So anyways, this is the script here for Binja. It's very nice because it can actually just do all your automation and testing for you. And see, it pulls in a secret, puts an environment variable, and like the whole source of what they're doing is public. Only thing that they have as a secret is a serial, and then everything else is fully automatic. So you could exactly call that, or you could you directly copy that into your workflow, adjust for your testing, and make yourself a GitHub action. So super nice, super nice. All right, so that's all snippets. It supports drag and drop. It supports, was that it? Drag and drop, rename files, deleting subfolders. I should probably look at my commit messages. I don't know if I think I mentioned the external file one, right? But you can now open it in an editor, and it will open like an external editor for your snippet. And in fact, if you save it, it'll automatically reload it in the reload the action. You can run it. So that was another one from a little while ago. So snippets coming along. Let me know if you have any other fun snippet things that I should work on. I was like, literally yesterday was I took a day off, like half day from work, and then I worked on snippets. Yeah, the auto reloading is, and that I think I did that one on stream a month ago. I think I may have worked on that because I had just done it for Windows. Yeah, exactly. You can have your VS Code, save, and then flip back over to Binja. The one thing that is one thing I was going to add. You know what? I want to make let's see, I'm not logged in here. If somebody else could do it. I want to file the issue. Glenn, if you can do it, because I just closed your other one. Um, I want to have a checkbox for auto run, right? I want to be able to like have like a update analysis when run. Okay, yeah, I want a different checkbox here. Yeah, so this is like update analysis and wait. Like right now, every time you do something in the console, I've probably mentioned this before, but if I do current function.name in a Python console, it's like, why is the box up top? Current function.name, and I change the name to something, I'll change the type or something that could actually have like some propagation changes. Every time you do any enter in this key, it reloads the state of analysis. Snippets and like true plugins don't do that though, right? Because your code might want to do multiple things. And it doesn't really know when you're sort of done. And so when you would want to update analysis. And so like by default, they don't. But like if you check this box, the snippet will update analysis. Anyways, the other checkbox is auto run the plugin when in external. Or maybe I don't know. Yeah, tell me what you think about the UI. Should it be click it here and then ask you, do you want to auto run when it's saved, or it should probably just should be a checkbox that says auto run when file updated? Then you can literally have two monitors, have your Binja open at one, and just every time you save in VS Code, Binja just runs your script automatically in that session that you have up, right? And be pretty nice. It's really easy, like trivially easy to do that. I just don't want to forget it, so I'll implement that at some point. All right. Next plugin was snippets. Ripper. I hadn't used Ripper in a long time, but it's a great plugin. It's one of the more popular ones. Speaking of which, I need to pull those stats. We actually have stats now on all of our plugins. I got jealous of Hexrays with their everyone has less than 1K of of installs. Oh no, it's the second one. It's not that one. Plugin repository. I wonder if they fixed their sorting too. Downloads. Yeah, it's backwards, right? So this area shows it going from highest down to lowest. So this should be the most. It's not. It's backwards. It's the highest down to the lowest. So like I'm pretty sure they've got the icon wrong there. But anyway, this just shows there is actual data. If you're curious, they do have a JSON file they load, so you can actually see the total numbers of installs of these through their kind of wrapper thing. But with Binja, because we've got it in the plugin manager, it's I think much more direct. Um, take the current code from the console and oh yeah, you know what? I actually just I can do that right now. Cause watch this. I just noticed. Oh, now we're gonna find. I have too many gists snippets. There we go. Okay. Um, history, history dump. Yeah. So check this out. You can actually. So let's ironically let's use a snippet. Let's make snippet from command line. You know what? Also, I need to think about the UIs because I have too many buttons and stuff. I need a menu somewhere in here I can start putting this stuff. But this snippet should uh, so like let's save and run this. All right, there we go. So yeah, current function and name was the last thing I did in the Python console, and you'll see there's literally I have that data right here. So that would be like super easy. Like, you know, basically make new snippet with that. Um, boom. Could totally do that. Glenn's trolling me in her internal Slack. I like getting distracted. I like getting distracted. Okay. So only when I want to stream for a while. Like I'm actually up for streaming for a long time. Okay, so yes. So if Joe or Glenn, if one of the two of you will either follow the issue or just remind me both of those issues. You want to automatically run a snippet when you save and make a new snippet from so like we could have like a menu in here that just says new snippet from Python console. I could totally do that. There's no API, Galen. I will build it into the snippet itself. So you wouldn't, I mean, but you could build it into the snippet manager, but make it an action that would happen out here. So you could bind it to a hotkey, like snippet from console, last console, right? So I'll make an action or something like that. Thank you, Glenn. Okay, so let's do Ripper. Continuing right along our merry way. Are you outside, Glenn? Are you here? So it's sort of there, Erica. That's actually just when I went and grabbed the original version of this snippet. Literally did that. So if you do this and run it, you get exactly that because it is saved into your. It's like in the Q settings or it's like a Qt thing, but that little snippet will do it, and that is in my little. Oh, actually, no. Hold on. If you use snippets and you click the update example snippets button and you run it, it'll be like, you sure you want to download? Terrible things will happen. Jordan will put malware on your machine. There's one called history dump, and that's it right there. So that's the exact snippet already. You can literally just run that, and it will dump everything. Right? Yeah, we'll dump everything from your history to there. So, so you could basically just like literally renaming the here. Watch if this instead just did. Like I think literally what do I call it? Did I do it right? Did I error? Did I error? Command history? No. What did I do wrong? Oh, yeah, just like as a setting or something. Hmm. Yeah, that's not a. Oh yeah, because then putting it in. Well, so one thing to note. This is actually worth pointing out. I believe. So like here's an example. This is version. This is the dev version I installed, right? Yeah. So this is 3.5, where my last one was setting that function name. If I 3.4, if I run this version, um, everything in your settings is oh no, it is the same queue settings. Okay, because sometimes some of the settings we do per install location, but in this case, I think we do use global settings. So that yeah, that would totally make sense then to have like wherever your user folder is, um, to have a command history text log command underscore history or something like that. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. All right, I'll try Ripper this time. Should I use stable or dev? It doesn't really matter. Other than Brian's changes, there's not a whole lot on here, I don't think. So I've already got it installed. Ooh. Well, let's try something. So let's do, probably not malware. That's maybe not a good choice. Simple class? Sure. What's a good thing to test here? Uh, I kind of need like a simple, this is not a good one. What's a good binary to test this on? So Ripper, if you're not familiar with it, will basically emulate a function with Unicorn. So it runs, it emulates the just the function. So it doesn't work well when there's like calls to like allocators and stuff like that. Although I think you can actually stub out some of that stuff, but I kind of want something really simple. Actually, I want. Do I have this? No, that might not be a good one anyways. Should I write something or should I find a binary? Let's yeah, I don't know. Oh, how about Boffin? Let's look at Boffin. Does Boffin have a good one? Oh, here's a good one. Look at this. This is a great, oh, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. So Ripper, okay. Package function. Enter class name, parity. Use section marking mode for data dependencies. I don't think I have any data dependencies because it only, well, yeah, there's nothing global. So my guess is I don't need that. I don't know. Oh, okay, okay. Samples parity.py. So it basically creates this wrapper function. So let's actually grab this as a snippet. And Ripper example. I typoed it. Oh, wait, did I? No, I did not. All right, so let's look at this. It's going to unicorn, take out the bytes of that function, shove some state in, and it's going to run it with an argument of 0. But I want to actually run it with so let's actually just, yeah, take this because it's called parity. So like, what if we gave it like, also, let's eyeball it back in the binary just to see, does it look like it's taking like an integer or a string or it's taking a char star. So like I can probably, yeah, yeah, it does look like it's taking an ASCII variable. So you know what actually I'm gonna do? I keep hitting that. I've got a hotkey on my box, snippet editor. I map this to Alt S. Is that a thing here? Okay, it's not. So my muscle memory will keep working. Okay. So I don't know if I can literally just pass in like a string. Does that work? So I would expect these to be different things if this even works. Um, I think that was the old one. Oh, I do need to, yeah. Yeah, that did get deprecated, but okay. Let's try this. Let's just try this on a command line. I don't know if I've ever actually, it's not what I thought would happen. Uh, Copy. Shift right click, choose paste. There we go. Okay. Fighting my tooling, which is literally a meme in the office. Number of times Jordan's broke. Actually, it's been a while since that happened. Python 3 Ripper. Okay. So this is a good example where the Binja version of Python is 310. 310.6. It should be. Oh, I know why. It's because the dependencies are installed by default to keep it out of like your system stuff inside of Binary Ninja. Make sure I'm not missing stuff. A hash? I have not seen that example. That's actually I need to, like I said, I'm behind in some of the Jody. Okay. Um all right, that's fine. Check on the kids. Okay, so Python 310, right? So the dependencies like Ripper and a bunch of other stuff live over in here. So let's, for example, I think I can just do okay, all right, Python path should just append. Do I need to go site packages? Let's try that. Okay, let's try it without site packages. Or we'll just be lazy and do that. There is a way to do this, and I just don't feel like figuring it out now. So that's fine. Python 3 Ripper. Invalid memory mapping. X64 in general, that sounds sane. Okay, oops. Let's get past. Here we go. Memory map 1000 to 4000, 0. Oh, is it because it duplicates the other one probably? This might just be a small Ripper bug where it's trying to make. That's also going to overlap though. So maybe I just comment this also. I don't understand how this works. I don't understand. I've never actually used unicorns, so that kind of makes sense. Hey, all right, that's actually pretty close. So let's see here. Call unicorn string char. I don't know. Wait, I should use ChatGPT. Awesome, thank you. Do, 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 do. Pull up that message. Cool. I could probably go dig it out as well, but I actually don't have that repo on this machine. Tiny Hasher, it was said it was called. I see Tiny Store. Oh, does Tiny Store have? Oh, is that what it is, Site Break? Ooh, okay. Look at that. Let's try that. Is it literally that's all it was? Is it B string? Yeah, so Fox Unicorn is essentially an emulator. And in fact, I think it's based on QEMU 566, QEMU 6, I want to say. Um, it just allows you to like wrap instead of like instantiating an entire machine, like a full-on like boot Linux in pure emulated mode, you can do like more basic level stuff. Like actually, yeah, we can look at what it's doing here, right? So what I just went and fixed was the way that Ripper was generating some of these memory mappings was they were overlapping, and so I suspected that was the bug, and it looks like that probably was right, because we did get further on the analysis. So it's literally just saying, let's make a thing called a parity object, and I assume one of the UC, right? So this right here, this UC thing is setting up some unicorn magic stuff. It's setting up the architecture and the mode. It's setting this code and this data values, which I assume are just like, actually, I don't know what is this data? Why would it, that looks almost like an elf header? Is it just pulling the first 1K of the file for some reason? Oh, I wonder if it makes like a bogus stub elf file or something that's gonna run around. That kind of is what that looks like. Which, fun fact, let's do this. If we like literally just copy this, if you're not familiar with it, go over to Binja, new tab, paste from raw. Boop. We can pull this in and we can see, yeah, sure enough, it is an elf. And there's an easy way to like create this as an elf right from here. Unicorn, or I call this Ripper elf under samples. But if I just save it and then reopen it, it'll automatically recognize it as an elf. With no import, yeah, this is a bare bones thing. Does it have no entry point? Like literally. Yeah, oh, I see. It specifies the start address. Yeah, so it is. It's just a bare minimum elf. And then this doesn't exist in this file, right? It's not even that big because you're supposed to paste in the code, the other stuff, right? So that's where we're just gonna get the code. So that's just like a bare minimum file. Exactly. Chat is better than Chat GPT. Someone's got to have memed that. Yeah, Erica, by the way, if you can let me know, I don't know which one of those binaries has the hasher in it. I see Tiny Store, First Steps, Candy Pop, Boffin. I know it's not Candy Pop. I don't think it's Tiny Store or Boffin. I've seen those. I don't know about First Steps, so I can try that. But let me know which one. Oh yeah, exactly. For like config extractors, just to be able to be like, here's this random decryption function. I don't want to have to run it like the full binary. Obviously, it's malware, but I just want to pull out this one function and then write something that can like call into it. So it lets you call stuff. And I could be doing this on an M1. That's again the nice part is it doesn't even have to be the same hardware. And because we're just emulating one function, performance isn't really like a huge deal. Like an emulator can be slower and it can be fine. So unfortunately, save that yet? That B is not. Oh no, you're right. It's not. Hold on. It's not where I did. That might actually be a straight up Ripper bug. It looks like the memwrite wants the. Yeah, I didn't actually see what the error was. Ah, okay, so it started. You can see it's an emulator state. It set up some registers, it set up a stack, and then invalid memory read. Well, that's unfortunate. So there's some bug here. It may have been how I generated it. It may have been got past here. It's probably in start unicorn. I wonder if I code 0 F3. If I instead have that say CC and just throw a breakpoint in there and then just rerun it, will it give me, yeah. So it is running my code, right? So I just threw literally a breakpoint by just editing that string. So there's something in this code. Now let's check whether that's our simple little Ripper elf. This is what it generated, which is close. Maybe we'll go. file a bug and figure out why it's doing those overlapping memory maps because those don't look like they work. And maybe it worked on like an old version of Unicorn too, and the version of Unicorn's changed. But let's bring up this with disassembly or show opcodes. Okay, so that looks. Oh, I bet. Is it the. Can Unicorn handle the MVR stuff? It's only 4 bytes, and then there's going to be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's. I mean, as long as the sizes don't matter that much. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's. Yeah, 5, 5 looks right. Okay, let's just pull off that just for kicks. Okay, so that wasn't the code that was causing the exception. So something else in here is causing an invalid memory read. Oh, no, that makes sense. Let's see if Chad has figured it out. Okay, cool. Thank you, Erica. I got that. I got that one. Um, all right. Hasher. We'll grab those and we'll copy them in. Samples. And let's go. New folder. Hasher. We'll give one more try to Ripper, but it looks like so I'm pretty confident here that the problem though, and in fact we might run into the same problem with this hasher function is this just char star argument. I'm not doing the right thing in terms of like calling it. Like you can't just like pass in a string as my guess, because I bet what's happening in that function is because we should have no problem with save stack. Like that shouldn't be a big deal, right? I think what's happening is this right here, where we first are getting out um no. Coming down here. Where are we actually getting in? Oh, is it saving? That's the funny part is when the decompiler abstracts so much of this away, you just see like, oh, it's just var18 is arg1. Um, but it put it, yeah, so it put actually, right, RDI is the argument. It put it on the stack, it put it back in the register, back into the stack, and that's what it's using here. So this is literally just our string pointer. And so, yeah, I think it's the problem is that the way that we're calling this, it doesn't let us pass in a string. Maybe we could probably learn more about Unicorn and fix this. But we're gonna move on to the next plugin for now. As I order my kids pizza. Let's see here. But yeah, I mean that's still really nice, right? It like generates most of the boilerplate for you, sets it all up, and the idea is that if what I really want too is I want it to just run in the console. That'd be really nice. I don't know if there's a. I might have to generate selected basic blocks. I wonder if Ripper, and this is another one, a good example is I like to use the plugin manager to just pull up the, if there's specifically examples, package a function. Yeah, this is what we did. Details about the prompts. Oh, that's cool. You can hook it or just knock them out. So this didn't come up right because it didn't have any of that. Use section marking mode. We'll map all the sections of the binder that are touched by the target code. Oh, so I definitely want page marking code and not sections because the sections can overlap. I suspect that's what happened. Anyway, using a package called the run and then hooking stuff. Ah, there we go. Okay, here we go. Oh, we'll map memory, copy your argument to it. Oh, okay, hold on. So it did have, where is it? Okay, is it putting that somewhere? Right, right, right. 750. Start unicorn. arg0. I should have just read the code more closely. arg0 gets passed into, yeah, memwrite. arg0. Okay, okay. So like that actually does look like it. Yeah, this is handling all that for us. Like the run script should be taking, maybe actually ironically, it's because it should just be a string here. It looks pretty close. No, that one does. Oh, that's right. It uses the same memory, so this should also be a raw byte array. All right, well, whatever. It doesn't work for this particular example. I'll try one real quick in the form of this hasher. And let's open the elf just for simplicity's sake. Oh, okay, calculate. See, I think we're going to run the same issue where it's got to calculate hash with an arg1, but let's try it. Yeah, I really need to play with unicorn more. Calculate hash. Let's not do that. I think that's where we're going to have a problem before. Attempt to automatically fill in function arguments. Yes, I do want to do that. And we're going to call this hasher.py. Okay, so now yeah, so we're definitely going to have to, I think that was a unicorn change. We are going to have to fix this, the byte array output there on that one. That's a thing we're going to want to submit to Patrick. I wonder, oh, I wonder if I don't need to pass it a null. Like, is it going to, well, if it puts it in null memory, that shouldn't be required. So I should just be able to do that. It's still doing those memory mappings. Yeah. So it is specifically mapping memory twice, and I don't think it likes that. Then we're getting invalid memory read. Okay, yeah, I'm done with that one for now. So that one's not quite working, but I think it's probably just more my knowledge of how unicorn works than anything. So that is Ripper. Last one. Last one is, oh no, two more. Copy as Yara. That should be fast. Let's do it. Copy as Yara. Wait, what? Not Yara. Wait, what? What happened? Why is that not in the... That's in the plugin manager, right? What am I doing wrong? Oh, seg break. Yeah, good catch. Right, so it's overlapping the binary map. Oh, yeah. Yep, I didn't think about that. I was coming at the wrong things. The issue is, so like let's open hasher. Let's generate a hasher for this calculate hash function. But let's first rebase the binary. Let's just put it at 8,000 hex. Right? And now if we yeah, that was exactly the bug. I bet you're right. So package the function, calculate hash. Yes, fill in arguments. Hasher.py. Just double click me, it's already there. Save. Yeah, we've still got, I think, yeah, the byte. I need to change my defaults because I like syntax highlighting too much to. So one bug is real. Like that's definitely, and actually no, let's fix that too. And I feel like I should put a null pointer at the end here. I don't know if that's required. We can test that. Oh, oh, look at that. Ah, interesting. It was supposed to be in the plugin manager, so I think I messed up then if that's the case. Um, but hey, Ripper worked. Thank you, Sidebreak. Yes. So yeah, we totally got it working. The issue was that the memory addresses overlap. The default arguments. Okay, so I need to file two issues on Ripper. One is default arguments. It needs to pick a new base. That's number one. And number two is it just needs to do raw byte arrays. Ooh, three would be default arguments. It passed in that null. Like we could totally have it do like a to like because we know it's a char star. We should specifically pass in um, a string if the original type was a char star. So guess type. Those would be easy little PRs. Okay. Well, that's cool. So great. It does work, and it was sort of our fault. Although, like I said, I think the byte array thing needs to be fixed regardless. But very nice. I kind of want to go fix the other one. It's not worth it. It's gonna be more of the same. It works. If everybody wants to go see it in the other one, let me know. We can go play with that parity function as well, but I suspect it will be quite similar. Okay, let's figure out though what happened with copy as Yara. What? Hold on. I thought did I remove it? What happened? That was totally unintentional. Pratik, you gotta let us know. It should totally be in the plugin manager. Um. Oh, remove broken copies, Yara. Oh no. Okay, there was a problem with it. What was the problem? I just totally forgot about this. I removed it. All right, hold on. Oh, I know why. Yes. Yes. Please fix this. Yeah, the problem is it doesn't. So when you go to when you like write a new plugin and you're like, hey, Vector 35. Oh, right. Anyway, if you click it and you have an account, and you're like, hey, I have a new plugin. I would like to submit it for the plugin manager. We're like, no problem. Please make sure you do these three things. And it's basically developer guide, writing a plugin. It's like basically do these things. Create a release. But it does say you must make a real release, not just a tag. And the problem is I believe here. So yeah, please go upvote that issue. Because you notice there's a tag, but there's not actually a release, and this is an important distinction. GitHub has this release thing that's a separate API from tags. Tags are right, you can just tag a commit. A release, on the other hand, if we look at like UEFI helper, has actual releases where there are files like at the exact state of things. And that's how the plugin manager works. It will take a particular, oh, let me see here. Kids gave me my pizza order. All right, so let me order the pizza for them. Cool Ranch Papadilla? Are you kidding me? That looks so gross. That looks so bad. Sorry. That is horrific. And oof. All right, customize meats, pepperoni on half. Done. Add to deal. There we go. There we go. The trick is I have to remember the tip on it now. Okay. My children can eat. So that's Not always Pizza Fridays, but it's often Pizza Fridays. And now let me send the tracking information so they've got that. Add bananas? What? I'm not sure I get the context of that. All right. Oh no, they may not have keys. Okay, sorry, dealing with that stuff. Okay, so back to releases. We've got copy as Yara. All right, well let's go play with it though. I still want to look at this one, especially because Pratik is saying it's super useful. Uh-oh. Yeah, they might need me to get the pizza for him. That is unfortunate. Okay, so let's try this. All right, so this is hasher. Let's go copy as Yara. Let's go find, actually, this calculate hash function, this is a pretty good candidate. Um, so if I want to copy like this little function as Yara, address wildcards are normal. Let's just do normal. And then if I paste in, are zeros wildcards though? No, it's actually just doing zeros. Okay, hold on. So that's normal. Oh, do we have to specific? That's like a different thing. So let's see. Copy. Particular, you're gonna have to tell me because I don't use address wildcards. It looks like it's doing the same thing. Oh, yeah. Pineapples. That's right. Ananas. I forgot. I do love pineapple. Yeah, there's another one. There's another one that's very common. Ananas is like every language in the world is pineapple except for English, where we're like, we're gonna make up a new word. Um, I do like pineapple on pizza. I know a lot of people consider that sacrilege. Um, but I'm a big fan of Hawaiian pizza. We call it sometimes that have ham and pineapple. Would definitely be up for that. Okay, so it's copying just like the bytes. Let's see here. Let's look at their example. Does Yara care about the comment though? Oh, was there a wild card in there? Hold on, I didn't see that. I feel like I need to like look at this image very closely. If it will work right. Why is the image not? I meant to go here instead. Okay. So can I pause this? No, it's just gonna keep playing. That's fine. I can see it better. All right. Plugins, copy for Yara, address wildcards. And then they paste and they get. I didn't see. Oh, because that function didn't have any global addresses. So maybe their example and mine. I guess that's true. This is just a local stack frame and stuff, so there is nothing to mask off. So let's try. Here we go. This is a good example. This one, on the other hand, has a global address. And therefore, if we select it and say Yara, address wildcards, and then, yeah, there we go. Okay, so it does. Yeah, so for both the printf and it should also have had, ooh, I would disagree. I think that should probably also be masked off. So yeah, if that's all it's doing is it's literally just taking calls. Okay, let's look at the code now. I want to see as copies here because I feel like this plugin could instead, like it could even just produce the entire output blob. Like why you not even do that, the whole thing, so you don't have to paste it into the template even. I feel like we could make this a lot more efficient. Let's see how the code works. Yeah, so it literally just calls. It's looking for just call instructions. But what you actually want to do, okay, it does do possible address token. Good. That's smart. That's one of the things I was going to suggest. So let's like look at, but like this one here, for example, let's switch over to like low level IL. And actually, how does it, which, it's doing text token and then disassembly. Yeah, that's probably fair, but I feel like I might be able to do something at a low level IL. Let me think. Uh, uh, type of that? No, it's dot operation. That is a, yeah, so you could, yeah, exactly. In fact, even the calls, for example, I believe are going to be the same thing, or it's dest rather instead of source, but it would be, you want to check if the source or the dest. Is it dest? That would be awful. Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be nice if we were consistent? Yeah, so again, LIL, it's a constant pointer. In this case, the call itself is to printf, which is a constant pointer. And in this case, the global value is being loaded from a constant pointer. Yeah, I feel like okay, I'm sorry, I'm catching up. Yep, okay. So the single byte wildcards, that is as expected. Okay. Nibble, right. And then you would do like, well, that's, I think what they did is 2 question marks per hex byte, comments are ignored. So global addresses should be, but are not, right? And so that's where I think the plugin is a little naive right now. So I would say that this one needs a PR. I mean, there's also, so Hyara is another plugin you might be interested in, which I think does both generation and maybe even does the matching, but let's see. It's also a little bit kind of more robust. But this one, let's try it. I'm actually really curious if we try it on this particular file on both the global value. Oh, yeah, what dependency failed to install? No module named Yara. Oh, is there normally a Yara pip package? Yeah, Yara-Python. Oh, fun fact, watch this. Python dependency. Oh, Python module. You can just manually run a Python command here. And what if I just do Yara-Python? Or actually, just Yara? Let's try that. You can basically pass things that you want to go in through Okay, there we go. It's just been renamed. So the requirements.txt in Hyara, I believe, is wrong. And before I forget, I'm gonna go file that issue. Because I believe that it looks like that was renamed and it's now just you loaded via Yara, not Yara-Python. So that one should now, I think, if we reinstall it, well, it's still gonna fail, but I think if we restart rather, it'll still be it'll reopen it. Let's see, because we like manually fixed the dependency, right? So um, yeah, exactly. We manually fixed the dependency, and so it started up and after we restarted. Cool. So like this one, for example, let's take this calculate hash function and where is plugin? I thought it was installed, right? Hyar is installed, enabled. Oh, no, there was something else. I missed that, right? Yeah. libyar. Oh, interesting. I wonder if Yara. This might be broken for other reasons. Maintaining code is hard, everybody. I feel like I've used it before on Bija, so I don't know if this is okay. So this is, yeah, just the Yara package is a C-types wrapper which exposes the libyar. Oh, do you have to also? I wonder if yeah. Okay, so let's do this. Um let's remove the one that we just installed. So we've got, no, it's site packages, then Yara. Yeah. So let's remove that. And then let's sudo apt install Python 3 Yara. And now so we have a .so. Okay. But this version should also do it. So if we just Python 3 import Yara. Okay, so now let's try that. I wonder if that's just the difference. Well, I don't see plugins. I do the other way. Native 6 scan loaded, all caps. It's funny. Okay, so now we've got Yara. Yara. Yeah, all right. Now we've got this one up and loaded. All right, so let's do start address. See, but you want to, I guess I can hit Control Shift A, paste. But see, yeah, you really got to go manually. Yeah, I like the selection. You want to be able to copy from selection. Hold on. I should use these plugins more often because this definitely like would be really easy to improve by like just selecting and then just say like copy selection, because there's literally current selection is just the things you have selected in the UI. It's trivial to get that out with a single button. So you can do start address and then you can do end address and we can call this calc hash. Okay. This one doesn't actually, no, let's go back to, so let's go back. I want to test license check because I want to see if this one does better with the globals. Okay, so wildcard, yes. I don't know about string option or any of these other ones, so let's do that. Make. It didn't wildcard anything at all from what I can tell though. Unless, do I save? Okay, I see. So you can make multiple rules, like, and then build up a string of them. Well, that's kind of nice, except I don't see the. And then if I export it, this will give me a much more well-formed. Yeah, it's like a nice well-formed thing here. How it generates that, that's cool. Except Oh, it kind of reuses this box. Okay. Um, wait, does it? And then export Yara rule. You have to still have to copy to a file. Yeah, I want to be able to copy to a file. Okay, I have opinions now about how the UI of this should change. This is the problem with being like a plugin author and a tool developer is that like half the time I just want to like fix the UI and things now. That makes sense, Segue. Yeah, there is a pure Python version of it. I don't know why it didn't install then. Like it should have just been a yeah, I could have done that. Yeah, I'd have to go manually like try to reinstall that and see why it didn't install. But it's nice to know actually it works with both. Oh, here, whoa. That looks very broken. Very, very, very broken. I don't know what happened there. All right, hold on. Oh, yeah, I actually do think I know. Delete. Yes. Remove that rule. I want to. I'm gonna turn on all these options. I'm just curious. Now, make no comment, no wildcard. No, I do want wildcard. Make. It's not wildcarding. I don't, man. Neither one of these seem great. And Hiara, I know it gets used a lot on and Ida as well. What am I doing wrong? Okay. So test, start, end. Oh, see, they do have a select or exit UI element there. It'd be really easy to add copy current range over here, and you just would select in the UI, and then you would, sorry for that noise, and then you would do that there. Um, yeah. Yara icon? What is that trying to do? Something that errored out. DOS magic header not found? What is it doing? It's using PE file to pull an icon out of something? Okay, yeah, we need to update that code as well. There's some Pythonisms. Unfortunately, it's such a bummer because you can do len bv, and I love it because it's so nice. It gives you like the length of a binary view. And if you want to like get the like raw file on disk, the parent view is like it's like the fastest, easiest way just to get like the size of the file, which is super great. But you can't do it because basically Python has limitations around calling len on things that are very large or have like, you know, if it's a binary view, it can have memory segments, which can be massive, 64-bit, right? Or even bigger address spaces. And so, yeah, you have to switch to bv.length, which makes me sad. But that's, so we've actually deprecated the ability to like have a under length on the binary view itself, on just the binary view, because again, binary views are meant to map into memory, and so anyway, it'll still work for several versions. But we're marking things as deprecated with the build that it was deprecated in, so that people can notice and change plugins. Like I already submitted a PR to a plugin recently that had a couple of those, just to clean them up, and so then makes it easier when you remove them. People will have updated. All right. Well, I am disappointed with the state of Yara rule generation on Binja. I think Copy Yara needs. I do like the workflow on the. I mean, this one looks a lot fancier with like the UI element. And it's nice for building like a multi-part type thing. But it feels like. Are you supposed to manually like get the offsets yourself and skip around calls and stuff? Like that doesn't. Yeah, that doesn't feel like how it should be. I'm curious. Yeah, exactly. Segments and sections as well. They can be very, very large. And so we can't allow len to be called on them. Um, so Erica, I'm curious, when you use Kiara, does it he's not using wildcard option. Yeah, I'm if you've got it working with like those different ones on IDA too. I guess I can go try it on IDA as well. We've got an IDA license. Actually, was that Geeter in there? No, that's hold on. That was either like Hopper or Anger or that was something else. Binja? What is that? There's Ida. What is the other one? Which one was that? Okay, I could probably just read the webpage and see what it supports. Oh, Cutter. Oh, that's cool. It's got a Cutter plugin. Right click, start, enter address. Yeah, no, you can do way better than that. I think I'm gonna add a much better way of doing that, which is like copy current selection. I think works better. Okay, um, I want to do the not string. It doesn't mention the wildcard option. It describes these three. Hmm. I think the wildcard option is just broken on Binja, is my guess. And I'll have to spend some more time later looking into it. Let me make a note of that. I'm seeing if my children resolve their pizza issues. They did, because my daughter is at the pizza place with the car. Okay. Cross your fingers. This is like her third driving trip with her new license. Yeah, I mean you could have it generate the blob and then just go mask off those bytes yourself, but like that's the whole point, is it should be doable to like at least like have it. But you know what? Like looking at this now, this is Cutter, but it's doing the same thing. It doesn't. This one is not masking off bytes here either. How? Let's see. Like, yeah. Oh, it's got Ghidra support too, even. Look at that. I mean, kudos for like cross-platform. That's fantastic. Um, but like, that's still a lot of work. I do like that you can kind of build it up with different things with Yara, but I also like the simplicity of copy as Yara. Um, it just this feels like it could be made a little bit more robust. I'll have to think about that. It is kind of a tricky problem because like with Binja, most of our analysis, right, is based on the ILs, and so we really like it's really easy, as I was shown earlier, to be like, oh, is this IL have an address? Like, is the value an address? Is it or even better, like you can say, is it of a certain type of operation? So is it loading from memory or writing to memory? These are really easy things to ask at the IL level. Current IL instruction. The operation, like, is it a set reg? You could basically walk is the source, not operation source, the source of a set instruction, for example, a a constant pointer. Basically, if you ever get a constant pointer in either the source or the dest, you can just walk all the low-level ILs. You've got a thing you've got to mask off. Then to line it up is a little trickier. Actually, you know what you could do? I'm really getting sniped here, right? But like the value.value, um, and then you've got the that's not terrible. So for some things you could mask that off really easily, right? Because you could create your mask with like um um let's see. Oh no, you don't want to do assembly. You literally just want to do bv.read. Um, so yeah, you want current IL.address, current IL instruction dot address, and then you want to get there's like a get next. Yeah, you would basically get that address and you get the next the address of the next instruction at that address. And then that would let's switch that over disassembly. And that would tell you how big it is. And then yeah, but even there, the destination value is relative to this. So knowing how to, much to mask off there. Sorry, I'm getting really nervous and I've done this now. Yeah, I do agree the copies Yara is a little simpler and faster. And it already has some of it. Ooh, yeah, relocations would totally do that. You're right, Peter. That's a great point. For like certain files, right? Is that always gonna be the case? Yeah, probably. Yeah. How can I guess the relocation ranges at current address? And then I know it's like 8 bytes or whatever, but um hmm. Oh, so the problem is, yeah, you need more than that, right? So this will have it here. This should have it, unless in this case, no, it's not, right? Because the actual relocation though, for well, this is an ELF too, right? Really what we want to be looking at is that malware sample we had before. Let's go find that one. This is just straight up malware. So this one, let's go find, like, yeah, we want to find where it's calling something out. We want to mask off um, like this one here. It's the type information. Yeah, so it's in our data. Maybe I'm using that API wrong. Yeah, like I can manually do it, Erica. Like I'm just trying to think of a way to like get all of the like what if it wasn't an LEA? What if it like I want to write a plugin that one shots it and does it all? And depending on the instruction, um uh you've like this, yeah, like in this case, the stack offset itself is probably what you want to mask off. Like if it's a move, like you really want to like maybe mask this off and just look for these bytes in a row. Like you would like get that string. I don't know. This is where my lack of experience as a malware reverser I think is pretty obvious because I just don't deal with this stuff. And also I'm back on dev, so you know it's that particular string is off. Um, and then it's also why part of me is like I would just use Binja and like look for these strings like directly from the built-in string copy and write a plugin to do that instead, instead of reaching to Yara. But I know the nice thing about Yara is you can deploy it on VirusTotal and things like that. Yeah, exactly. Malware noob tries to like build malware RE or sorry, VR noob tries to build malware RE tooling. Um, yeah, yeah. So like I definitely know how I like I could totally build a signature for one of these functions, but I want to build it automatically. I want to think about how would I build a plugin to do it? Like which parts do you mask off? Do you just extract out these bytes? But if you're just doing that, like um which is fine, but I'd rather let Binja do that for me and write my plugin this way. So if it's for my own analysis on an internal corpus, I would write a binary plugin, because then like what if they literally introduce a single other like if the compiler reorders any of these instructions, they'll do the exact same thing, but your signature is completely broken. Um, to be fair, I don't know why it would in this particular case, but you know these are not always in order. Actually, yeah, there's two different ones there, right? So there's this set, it's one of the nulls or one of them, and then there's this other set which is yeah ADV and load library. Um, But yeah, there's no reason they have to be in order. So you could definitely, a little change like that will break it, whereas this will still recover it in Binja. All right. Speaking of getting distracted, Hayara wasn't even on the list, and we were trying that one out. Um, no, that was the right one. All right, so copy as Yara. Copy as Yara then is not bad. We need to get an actual release out of it. I forgot that that was the case, and then I kind of want to think about this some more and propose some changes. Like, how could we do this masking? So this is not a bad start, and I really like that they're using possible address token. I think that's a great idea. To get the token and then replace that token with wildcard bytes. This is really a good idea. And they're right that using confidence, there might be some interesting stuff there. So I like that part a lot. Yeah, pretty simple though as a plugin, but like that makes sense. And I do think I like it better than Hayara in some words because I don't want to have to manually mask stuff off myself. But I can see why if there's nothing that like automatically does it, why you need a manual UI for it. All right, so we've done Ripper. We got Ripper working. Hayara, copy as Yara, mostly working. Even if I would like it to be a little bit more resilient and make me do a little less manual work. There's other plugins. All right, so working with types. I don't know, man, did I bore y'all? Are people actually still watching? I know we've got a couple of folks here, but exactly, Cybreak, right? Like, that's the real answer, isn't I? And that's exactly what I would want to do. Is I want a signature matcher built into Binja that's IL based. It's just like find these IL instructions. So I want to find a low level IL store into I want to find a low level IL store where the source is this byte and then this byte and then this byte and this byte in these instructions in a row. Right? But even like it really should be higher level. Like I said, I actually think it should be just the, just is that one on there, or if it's for like some functionality like the hasher function. And if we look into hasher calculate hash, like this kind of function, if I want to signature this, what you really want to do is describe like, yeah, it's a for loop that's just literally adding the characters together, right? You want to describe that here and not here. So yeah, yep, that'd be cool. Okay, so let's work with some types now. Let's open up, I think the answer was Boffin is the one to use. Let me double check this and see what I'm missing. I am, okay. Okay, cool. Fox, we've been talking a lot internally about not that exact problem, but we've had some conversations around like sometimes we'll do dead code elimination. Actually, you can see that kind of part of it here, right? Where or rather in here, where we sometimes when we remove dead code, we remove it entirely, and sometimes we kind of gray it out and just show it here when we're not quite as sure. And we've been talking about ways that we can indicate to the user different things about, like, hey, we removed a bunch of code here. We're pretty sure it's dead, but just so you know, there's stuff here. That's the thing that comes up. And it's a good example of something where there's no like C level way you could do that. I guess you could comment or something weird, but like, in like the IL, like we can do things like arrows and folding and like and actually do a little drop down where you could click it and re-expand it if you wanted to show it instead of hiding it. Or I don't know, it's different things that we need to figure it out. We kind of want to play with it. But there's other information we want to show. And one of those things could exactly be, right, like where did this come from? I think in this case, the name though is distinct enough, is built-ins, that is, if you're doing any amount of reverse engineering on Midget, you'll get used to it pretty well, that like this is a built-in, so it's going to be from some constructed thing. It was from a stack, heap, whatever, however it was constructed, immediate values, or it was pulled by that time from this global register, whatever it is. And you can always like look at the synced lower level if you want to get a sense for exactly where it came from, because like it does nicely highlight exactly the instructions that got folded into that, and you can see that happening really well. But yeah, we've been thinking about that. We don't really know yet. That's a hard thing to do. So all right, well, I'm not even gonna try to do like a really professional, put on good, fancy version where I turn off like chat and stuff and record it and then turn this into types. But I do want to start in my own head and for y'all talking through some of the type things. And this is good timing too, because we also want to have workflows for working with types, things like making signature libraries, things like making type libraries. We want to have it be a smoother kind of process. And so we've also been building out this information for a while. So a lot of what would go into this this section on working with types would really be coming from here. But in Binary Ninja, there are types, and then there are places where those types are applied. So those places that they're applied could be like a global variable. We could actually go look around now. Here we go. We've got this, just some bytes in the din stir tab section of this binary. And we can see that there is a variable here that has a type. It's basically, a character array. And we've got a size associated with it. So I can click that variable and I can hit Y to change the type of it. It's going to default to whatever it currently is. And it's even being rendered, as you would expect like a string array to be. If I change this type to something else, like if I change it from that to, would this be like 6, or no, let's do, instead of 12, let's make it a 3 count of ints, right? And it's going to it's changing the type information associated with that global variable. Like the cross references are the same, the variable is the same, and again, it's different from the name. So names are symbols. So types are totally unrelated to names. They're like a lot of times you can, in the UI box, you can do both. You can change the name and the type, but they're really kind of separate sort of things conceptually most of the time. Like you want to have a type, most of the type APIs, and then you have symbols. Just some of them we make them for convenience sake, make them similar. Oh, let me get caught up. All right, so so we can change the types, and again, this is data that is in the binary. There's also, though, data there are variables that are made inside of a function that aren't associated with data because you don't have the data. You just have references to it and you see what's happening to it, right? So like undo this, put that one back, and then we just go find some random bit of code, right? We're going to have variables that exist in the function. And these function variables, which you can see on the variable list on the left, have types associated with them as well. You can see here there's an integer, a signed integer. You'll see unsigned integers. You'll see various types. These are all grayed out because these are all low confidence auto type information, just sort of based on how they're used. So for example, we see this Rax1 is being treated as a char star because we're reading out a single byte from it, right? Something, if I actually look at the disassembly, in fact, this is straight up, it's called my stir-in copy, so that makes a lot of sense, right? Like this type information doesn't exist intrinsically in the binary. This is just binary to just guess an automation on it. Although I can, for example, hit Y on this, and if I hit enter, you notice that gray turned to color. Now I've told Binary Ninja, this is indeed the type of this, and so it has more confidence in it, and it sets that type. Yeah, that really is a char star. And likewise, it changes several of these over here. You'll notice it didn't just change the arg2, but the other types, because they're derived from that one, are now real types as well. So that's super nice. And again, it's kind of a subtle thing that people don't always realize, right away, is that the sort of difference between those. And so we've got this, we don't know what this first one is, but looking at this, we see it's a stir copy. This is almost certainly probably a char star as well too, right? And it's going to return the pointer to that. So we'll call that arg1, and we'll make that also, which also then changes because that's returned, because that one has this stuff happens to it and it gets returned, now we know the return type of this function. So we can see where that function is called and cross references. And we can see that in this case, we're not doing anything with the return value. So if we flip over the actual return, in fact, yeah, it literally gets immediately overwritten with something else. So we're not actually reading, or not actually paying attention to what the return value is. So it's removed. But if we were, because the function, the actual code we can see does indeed, where did my start copy go? Does return that value. It's just not actually used. All right, so I'm hitting Y to change the type of the variable. So I've selected the variable and I've hit Y, and I can also just hit N, and that's just changing the symbol. Like it's just changing the name of the thing independent of the type. But again, as I said earlier, you can hit Y and then change both the type and the name, and that's just kind of for compatibility reasons, because that's a lot of people are used to in C or in other reversing tools, and so we kind of maintain that. Let's see, what other type related things? Oh, right, so we've got variables in the sidebar, and we can also change the variable types over there too. Like I don't have to select it in the function. I could select it here and hit Y on it. I thought I could. I can't. You can also click here and click change type. Lame. I think we've got an open issue. Actually, I know we've got an open issue for that. You should be able to hit Y there too. It didn't get finished out, and change the type in the same kind of way. Another place that we can change types is actually the stack view. So in any given function, variables that live on the stack, and again, not all of these variables are necessarily stack variables. There may be variables that are purely, actually, here's a great one. This is and we name the variables after registers in cases where the usage of it as a variable comes from the register. A lot of other tools don't do that. They'll just call it under u whatever or var whatever, or they'll just give it some kind of random name. We put the register name there feeling like it doesn't hurt. Yeah, it's still just a made up variable. It's ironically, some people are like, it just doesn't feel like you're decompiling. I'm like, well, it's a random name. I mean, does it really make this more readable if I call this u1 or whatever other random name? Like, I feel like it doesn't really help or be more or less useful. Really what happens is you click on it and you look at the highlights, you look at the usages, you look at that kind of stuff, and that's where your understanding comes. Maybe one day that we'll have like a naming system just to let people do layers of names and defaults that they want. So what's up when Binja just shows the type as void in a for loop void var. Usually void means it just has no idea and it just defaults to that. And so it's just saying I have no information about what this variable is. I'm not making any claims to it. I think. I'm not quite sure though. Do I have one on screen that's doing this? Talking about it? Let's see here. Wait, what is that? Oh, full screen mode. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know I could do that. Well, that works. All right, so here's a void 38. We have no idea what this is, but it sure looks like a big old stack buffer. And then we take a pointer to it into here where we've got a void star. Yeah, it's just saying we have no idea what the thing is. This in this particular case, actually, yeah, this is a good. Oh man, I'm so tempted to show Sidekick here. It's so good on this one. Yeah, and so in this one here, actually, I wonder if yeah. So we get input is literally just going to write a buffer into this thing, but here so I mean what you could actually this is a good example where I could, like, this is just an input buffer, right? And so I could, for example, it goes 3F0 I look like in size, so I can actually just change it to, if I did my math right, yeah, close. I'm off a little bit, right? And you can see it's just collapsing it because there's nothing there. We don't know the state of the stack. We're at this level. We just know it's a big old buffer. So you can do that here by creating. Let me make a note real quick of that. So um, all right, so let me think about other ways to work with types, other things to set. Enums. I've shown enums on stream before, but enums work quite well in the latest Binja, especially if we work on like a Windows thing that has some types and PDBs loaded or type information from some of these functions they call. So, oh, that's fun. Oh yeah, this thing is totally gonna do yeah dynamically resolve load library A. And then is this the thing that's gonna, yeah, so this is gonna, is this gonna do the loading of it? Beats me. Yeah, I'd have to take more time than I want to spend right now to actually look at what this thing is doing. That's some pretty gross code. Oh, right here though. Yeah. Yeah. So this is almost certainly, wait, no, is this the, this is not the stack cookie stuff. This is definitely um Teb Peb stuff right here. So 30, 14. Yeah, yeah, I have to go look at the types again on those. It's been a while. But this is, so this is gonna dynamically resolve. It's gonna try to find load library A, I assume. And then yeah, so this is probably the pointer. Yeah, load library, exactly. So this is probably gonna look up load library A. So this is uh, gonna call load library A, and then this is the other string on net API. So we're gonna load net API, and I feel like, why? That's a weird one. Why would it call that one? Like first in the clear and not kind of obfuscated the way it did these other ones. That's kind of an odd choice, but whatever. And then my guess is this this net API string. I think there's probably something being lost here, and when it's actually, oh right, so load library A we don't have the type information for because it's being, all right. So what we could do here, and again, this is not a variable, right? Load library. Oh, actually, I take that back. Load library here is a variable, but in this case, it's being called as a function, and so I want to set the type of that to these, you know, these Windows types. But it's basically just, it's going to take a string and return a pointer. So I can, um, yeah, I'll call it a void star because we don't know the type of what it's returning, but we know it's a pointer to something, and we know it takes a char star as an argument. Um, I did want that. Yeah, I did want that. Thank you. Because again, it's the way it's being called is like it's being loaded into a variable and then and called as a wrapper. It's not being called directly. So I'm pretty sure I did want what the change that it made. So it still shows, but yeah, this still I'm pretty sure is the, is that net, not a net API? I have to go look at it more closely. But anyway, but we can also, we can set type information to be full function pointers with prototypes. Uh-oh, I'm a little behind here. Oh, okay, yeah, Cebrix answering the new type inheritance magic. I don't believe there's any new type inheritance in, this is the same type inheritance stuff that's been there for a while, I think. This should be pretty standard. This just, it's doing its job. Um, we do plan to make another pass set to make the type inheritance even a little bit better. But I think what's happened actually is that like type information though, like the type library is here on like this API call, which is real nice. You'll notice, right? We've got full type information for that. Um, um, yeah. So like this, I can just name the string the same. I love being able to just use whatever I want for the name. Um, so this function is going to be called with users. Oh, here's another one of those UIT 16 or sorry UTF 16 strings what I should be running on the latest. Actually, let me do this. Let me save a BNDB and let's then, since I'm actually reversing this one a little bit, I'm curious. Does it fit? Yeah, does it? Yeah, yeah, it definitely does. All right, so it did. Right, we're in a different spot in the function though, but it definitely found the wide strings this time. It's just so much easier to read though. So they've resolved this every time they use this resolver function. Is this the one that they? All right, we'll go back to start. This is where our entry point is where we were before. Um, and what are we iterating over here? Just call this function a bunch of times? The same? Oh no, hold on. Oh, that's funny. This is just a really short string that doesn't get inline because it's literally 4 characters. D colon backslash. What is this doing? Malware is weird, right? But yeah, look how much easier this is to read. Look, without all these built-in mem copies, this would be so annoying. So annoying. Just for kicks, let's use dogbolt. And let's upload that sample. Do, do, do. This one. Let's turn off Binja. We know what it looks like. Let's turn off Anger. I just want to see Geeter and Hexrace. I expect Hexrace to do the better job of the... Nope. Yeah. They don't get that one either. So you notice they get the regular ones, but they actually don't get the wide string. If anybody knows Geeter developers, please see if we can get more eyeballs on this discussion. Although I think I owe them a response because they got back. But Dogbolt is real slow. It is real slow. And yeah, I gotta do some of this stuff and see if it helps, but it's painfully slow on Dogbolt, and I'd like it to be faster to be fair, because it feels like it's normally the slowest of all the decompilers, but it's usually not this slow. There's something excessively bad, and I would not trying to make it look bad. Yeah, so IDA does not get any of the wide ones. And what is this one? This physical. Huh. So this is, oh, there we go. Geeter's done now. Cool. So there was the kernel one. Yeah, this physical drive. Oh, it's just another wide one. Yep. Yeah, so this one kind of gets picked up, right? But it doesn't bite at a time into these offsets instead of recognizing it as one. Also, this is a char, but like, yeah, there's no like wide char type system support there, so that's kind of interesting. To be fair, I don't know what Ida's doing. It's something far worse. Um, well, that makes me feel a little bit better, actually. Look at that. So we're already outperforming latest Ida's stack string recovery. Was this the actually? You know what? Was this the example from? I think this was the Mandiant one, wasn't it? Yeah, this file name sounds familiar. I think this is the Mandiant stack string example that I found earlier. And go. Okay, it is. Yeah, it came from their example. So this is right from there. Oh, I like that file. Go back to that. All right, let's see how Geeter does. My guess is, yeah, it doesn't get any of them. It gets not a single one of them. So that's kind of consistent. So hooray! Just pulling away. I'm excited. I feel like things are starting to look really good. And I'm actually curious how. So now let's see, open process token. Actually, I was right there. Okay, no, like Binja does exactly the same. Yeah, that's. Although these variables. Yeah, okay. So that is, yeah, there it is. I mentioned there were two things earlier that I really was looking forward to for Ida's decomp. One was that optimized division, replacing or de-optimizing rather to make certain math operations cleaner, usually division and multiplication. The other one is this one, automatically detecting this as an array type, even though it's not a string. Like if it's an array type that's a string, this stuff will catch it now, which is nice. But this here is actually like some sort of stack array probably, which is, and you can kind of tell because Binja's like, hey, I see these values being initialized but never used, and it's because um, this this thing is actually just an array of what's this? It looks like 15. Uh, so if I actually set this to 32t of, right? Did I do that right? It's weird the way the ordering, it feels a little backwards, but yeah, that's, no, I did not do that right. Hold on, what did I do? Oh, right. It was on this one. That makes way more sense. That was the first one that was optimized away. Right. That was my fault. Okay. All right. So yeah, so that recovery, the fact that Ida was able to like identify that and be like, hey, this is probably actually just an array. And then later on, we can see it treated as an array. Well, not really. Actually, it's just a pointer to it. So you don't actually see any usages of it. Really, the only way to know to treat it that way, I think, is the fact that it's kind of written to as a structure, whether it's an array or a structure or some other sort of, like, this also could be a structure initialization. In fact, actually kind of rather likely. Do we know what EAX is here? Set entries, yeah. So what you really want to do now is you want to be able to load like all your type information from this API and apply it to here. So I bet if we pull up this function and go throw those types on it, right here, right, we'd see these arguments being decomposed into both the argument name and the value. And again, that's like much like you see dest and source and then n, in the stir copies, you'd see the same kind of thing in the high level IL. So yeah, Eric, I think I saw that go along, and I think that was the one where, like I said, Brian fixed the bug where the wide string wasn't originally being pulled through. But even with zero tweaking out of the box, we were matching Ida's um, string recovery, and with one fix to the wide string stuff, we're getting these references, which are again even kind of better and outperforming it. So that's cool. Yes, side break. I don't either, by the way. This new C++ type stuff is. I need to like. Yeah, I need to sit down and really have some of the smarter people here teach me about it first. That's one reason I've avoided doing anything besides canned demos on the C++ types. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense, Erica. The um, string operations versus like they're just like throwing it straight as like a str copy or whatever into something that's actually separate arguments or a structure or types or whatever. Like in these even up here, probably the same kind of thing. Um, yeah, yeah, right. So it exactly takes some sort of structure here, and this is like part of the initialization of that structure for whatever this one is, allocate and initialize SID. So all right, well that's enough. Oh yeah, so when it missed some types, hold on. I was getting distracted with malware reversing. You know, one of these days I'm actually going to turn into a malware reverser if I keep doing this enough. I might actually learn how to do it a little bit. Maybe, maybe. You might as well give myself too much credit. Um, what was looking for docs. I want to go back to the type docs. Um, so we've talked about like the types. Oh, one thing I didn't mention is that there's a bunch of really nifty hotkeys for applying types, such as like regions of memory. So if, for example, any of these things here are like, in this case, these are all values that are in line. Like in the disassembly, if we switch over to like low-level IO, you'll see that these values just literally come from the instructions themselves, come from the bytes, the raw opcodes, encode that there. But sometimes it's actually coming from like, there's just like a global variable where they've just shoved all the bytes into it and they'll load it straight from that. And if that's the case, you can go to like, much like the headers are here, you can go to that region of memory. This is a particularly bad binary. Here's one little section. I don't know what the section is. We're going to pretend it's a data structure. So I can select these and then I can use these other, oh, this is a relocation section. That's probably not the best to play in. Let's go grab some header empty space. I can hit like, for example, 8 here, and it turns them into int64s because they're 8 bytes wide, or 1 to turn them all into chars. And there is a bug there where it didn't keep the selection, which is mildly annoying. You have to reselect them all. But I think if I go 8 again, it works. Yeah, it's only if you go to a larger one. Yeah. And now I can hit like an asterisk, and it turns it into an array of those things. And I can hit, it just did int 16s because I had hit 2 before, but I can manually change it and hit Y again, or I can select them all and hit 4 again to change the type back into that, and then hit asterisk again, turn it back into an array. So you have all these like 1, 2, 4. There's also, I want to say D cycles through the types as well. And this is very similar to IDA, where I like our 1, 2, 4, and 8 better, but you can do it with D as well. And I just shift T go backwards, it does not. And then I think minus, yeah, it changes, toggles the sign. So minus goes from signed to unsigned. And again, this is for like, I can hit the numbers when I have a selection of bytes out here, but I can also do some of these things like, I think if I have a variable selected, I should be able to, can I do the minus here? Oh no, I can't. I can't do that one there. So there I'd have to hit Y on like this var, get the right letter, and then hit U, right? So you can change the type information there that way. But it's usually when you're doing it over the raw data that you can iterate to it and see it kind of. Mozart, welcome. Hola, Cinco de Mayo es un fiesta grande. It's the Spanish phrase I taught my son last night. We were grocery shopping. Yeah, Cinco de Mayo, happy Cinco de Mayo to you too. We're actually, man, we're going long. We're over 2 hours. I'm gonna be winding down soon because I could use some pizza too, if the kids left me any. They might have left me a couple slices. Soon though, we'll need more than one pie for half the family. But what are so other type things that I missed? Oh man, like the new type. So the type system itself is backed by Clang now. And so in the type view, when you do things like create a new type, you can pass any command line parameters that Clang can parse, essentially. You can include other include files, you can include a whole bunch of stuff here. And there's also a import header file. And this actually is up under this analysis menu, which I said earlier was the import from DNDB. There's also import the header file. So if you just have a header sitting around with all this stuff, you can do that as well. And there's this include system types, which is like on the system that I'm on, like automatically do those. Define binary ninja macros, lets it work with some of the binary ninja syntax for some of the options there. But if you do that, check out the docs on it specifically. No, that's the wrong one. Because the docs talk about some of the details, and there's a nice section here on finding system headers. So Glenn wrote this, which is really nice. If you're like on Mac and you want to bundle up all your headers, or if you're on Linux, you want to bundle up those headers or whatever, and then move into a different platform, or Windows, for example, move into Linux where you can do your analysis. This describes how you can do that, and then where those paths are, so you can pull in all of the Windows development kit headers, for example. And there's the new import BNDB section. Peter wrote those docs. It's right there. Calling conventions are something you can set on a function type. And you can see there's a couple of different these sort of magic keywords in Clang that you can implement to modify how, like I said, calling conventions here, but you can also do like packed, like the packed keyword, for example, right? Like if a structure is packed or not, is the compiler going to align or pad them, or is it going to like literally make it only the width of the exact variable types that you had in there? So by default, I think it will, like if I go here and hit S to make a structure, and then I just hit, let's say like 2 on these variables here, it is packed by default. You can see it even shows me that, right? Because I selected this exact byte. But if I change this, this would be a little weird, the padding. So can I don't know what's going to happen if I do this. But let's try this. So actually, really what you'd want to do is, if I remove packed, and these each are going to be padded out, I don't know how many that's actually, so it's probably wrong, but let's see what happens. Yeah, I feel like there's, actually, here's a better example. If I insert a type and I call it test, and then I hit Y and I make that struct test. So these offsets are not padded out at all. And then if I make this packed, that didn't do what I expected. So I'm doing something wrong. This is the part where I say I don't do a lot of the type stuff. But yeah. My understanding is that maybe it's because of the sizes that I'm using, but the packed basically means it's going to put the fields right next to each other, and if it's not packed, there'll be some padding in between fields potentially, and so you'll have like the address here will be F0, and that's just a 2-byte thing, but then this address will be like F8 or F4 or whatever. It'll be expanded out, but still only be a 2-byte thing. But that's not what I'm seeing, so I'm not sure why my understanding is off. All right. Any other type stuff? I'm sure there's lots of type stuff that I've missed. Yeah, so here's the hotkeys. I think I've talked through just about all of these, except for like these right here. So you can set a structure size with L, which I don't think anybody ever uses that one that I know of. You could undefine a field and then a rename. I did mention as well. Structures and making structures. I actually did this a second ago. I didn't say it. I just grabbed a bunch of bytes, then I hit S to just make a struct, and you'll notice it actually made it for me over here too. And so I can change that type. I can do all the things for it. And then as I change the type here, like hit A, you'll notice this updates as well. And so it's now got those types being applied as I create a live, which is super cool for like just kind of slicing and dicing things. It's one of my favorite Binja features, just like applying types kind of interactively to like, reverse engineer to figure out like what something is when you've got like a blob of actual bytes, and not so much in the analysis of the binary, but you can do the same thing as well. Like I can set type of some struct, and like a good example is these are all strings. These are clearly all strings, but if I look for like a memset, for example, and there's no memset references, memcopy, maybe, no, it's a string as well. Although this is probably a good example here where you can see it, the memcopy No, no, it's still just a string. It's not doing it from a global. It's just doing those from immediates. Um, I'm not sure why it decides the string copy versus the mem copy in that particular case. I wonder. Oh, I do. No, that does make sense. Because there's like this mixture of, yeah, maybe that should have been split up into one normal. That's actually not a bad sample to send to Brian. I think that might actually be two um, separate stir copies and then a wide stir copy afterwards, right? That's what that one looks like. So that's a good example for him to look at. Player sample OX41 eat a multiple stir copies into one mem copy. And I can see why it did that, right? Because these are not the same type. It's not just all ASCII or all whatever. But it probably should instead break those up into separate components. Instead, it just thought it was like sort of structure. So normally, if it does see a non-ASCII, non-UTF-16 or whatever, it will just do a mem copy because it thinks it's like the structure variables being done in it. But in here, I think it's actually just a little bit off. But yeah, it's working very, very well in general. Like I said, already outperforming IDA significantly on this, which is cool. Okay. Very satisfying. Like good reverse engineering where like you create the structs and it informs your decompilation is very satisfying. I don't do it nearly enough because I'm a bad reverse engineer and I haven't done like large scale reverse engineering, especially recently. I do little toy stuff on stream and whatnot, and I am working more with the tool than I am with the actual task of reversing. But I agree, it's super satisfying. All right, well, cool. Thanks everybody for hanging out. I had a good time. It was good to see everybody. Been a month since we hung out. Um, I am going to be at Offensive Con, as I mentioned, which is basically in a week and a half. The training starts, or a week from Monday, the training starts. So I'll be out there for that. I might stream again then a week from today. We'll see what my schedule's like. But I might try to get one more in before I head out to Berlin. So if you're around the area, it'd be great to see folks. I met up a couple people last time and had a blast meeting folks I'd only ever met on Slack before. So maybe we'll see you there. But yeah, thanks again for hanging out. We'll catch everybody next time. See you.